That is where we're going. But the real offseason starts here at Free Agency. Hello, welcome everyone on ESTV and across SFL Nation. I am Cameron Irvine, your analyst for today, your studio host for today, alongside my main man, T-Roy Gaines. Are you president now of Baltimore, T-Roy? Is that the title they're going with? President and GM of your three-time champion Baltimore Vultures. Have you gotten your newest ring yet?
I've already made the payment. The rings have not been made yet, so hopefully we'll have it by the start of next season.
Yeah. Well, we're looking forward to seeing that and looking forward to seeing what's going on around the league. Well, about 30 minutes ago, the transactions opened up, and so we have some contracts, some free agency to discuss. For those that are unfamiliar with the Simulation Football League, all of these people are real people. Coming up this season, there will be over nearly 650 people as players in the SFL, and next season begins in Las Vegas at the 2022 convention, July 10th through the 12th. And T-Roy, let's start with the Tulsa Desperados. Outside linebacker David Ware leaves Carolina. He's going to Tulsa. And the Tulsa Desperados announced just a couple minutes ago, breaking news, that they have hired him as their new director of communications as well. So a big signing for the Tulsa Desperados in the wake of King Rashid, their tremendous player in the secondary from this past season. He's going to Motor City.
Now, let's first talk about David Ware. He was previously with Carolina. Great sign up by Tulsa. He had 50 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 2 pass deflections last season. A great pickup for the defense for the Desperados. But yet the big surprise, even surprised me because I didn't even have on my stat sheet, is King Rashid leaving said Tulsa team, going to Motor City. Total tackles is at 35 total tackles. He had no sacks this last season, but 7 pat downs, 8 interceptions. 2 of them were taken to the house. A great pickup for the team formerly known as St. Louis.
It was really something. Rashid did a lot out of the slot, didn't he, T-Roy, this season? I mean, he made the All-Star game, made the honors ballot. That is really something that is difficult to do when you're not on the field every play. And Rashid did that. Motor City, what a pickup at corner. And it's going to be interesting to see how their roster actually takes shape. In fact, let's take a quick peek over at Motor City's roster with that signing of Rashid. He's alongside, looks like, Mark Kaufman, just behind Kaufman. For those not familiar with the SFL, those gold, silver, and bronze numbers are the value of the player against the salary cap. The salary cap is $1,800. You can see here on the next to this tab that Motor City has a salary cap of $927.11. You can see who they signed. They still have a quarterback and running back to go. Plenty still left for Motor City. But T-Roy, it's going to be interesting to see how that team molds. And it's always good to see players like King Rashid kind of move up in the world, right? He has this great rookie season, and now he gets more playing time and gets a chance to be make an impact in that great Motor City defense.
Yeah, you would love to have a player stay on a team and, grow with that team, but you also cannot hate on somebody who wants to move up on the ranks if the opportunity presents itself. King Rashid made the most of his opportunities in Tulsa. He's getting rewarded by getting a corner position at Motor City.
We got some more contracts rolling through and plenty to talk about as the day goes along. Hey, look, it's an expansion team sighting. David Gears is leaving Vancouver for New Horizons. Look at that value, T-Roy. David Gears is ready to get out of the minor leagues and get a big spot on a pro team. He's going to Seattle. That's super exciting. Nathaniel Diggs also signed with DC. He's going to be joining the show with us at 5:15, so we'll get a chance to talk about him. We got plenty of places to go with this, T-Roy. Who would you like to talk about right now?
Well, let's go with David Gears. He was part of that monstrous wide receiving squad from Vancouver with Brett Killian, Kendra Hall's now testing free agency. Gears himself joining his new squad with a fat contract. So Seattle is thinking, hey, in spite of the fact that he had 12 receptions for 201 yards and one TD, his average per catch was 18.6. So he's averaging over a first down a catch. So you definitely want to have that weapon on your offense. David Gears got rewarded today.
Mike Jones, who?
Mike Jones, yeah, Eddie got me on that one.
Going to Queen City. That was the first signing to go across the wire at cornerback. Queen City was ready, and even though that team is rebuilding, T-Roy, I gotta give some credit to Andre Krim and that Corsair staff. They've been putting in the work, and they were ready for this moment. Stephen McMichaels at tight end comes along the wire. Adrian Ellis, another two-way contract playing with Madison right now in the minors, is also going to Queen City at a value of 81.73. And then Joseph Sabolka at defensive tackle leaves, I believe, Charleston to go to the Queen City Corsairs. And a quick look at the Queen City Corsairs makeup after these first few free agent signings. They still have a lot of work to do here, but these are some good pickups. Defensive linemen are hard to find. Sabolka will pair with Krim quite nicely.
Yeah, and where Queen City, their defense, there we go. I found their defense. They were ranked 24th, so they want to build and improve on that ranking, but 24th in points allowed, 21st against the run. So signing Saboka at D tackle is going to help improve that. And shout outs to Andre Grimm. He's been wanting that opportunity to lead a team for a while now. Now he has it, and he's trying to make a huge impact for Queen City in a big way, especially with those holes they have to fill. It'll be interesting to see how today's signings pan out for Queen City.
Here's an interesting one. Kyle Finnemore of Atlanta. By the way, you'll see that there's 10 loyalty points applied there to Finnemore. That's actually just a cosmetic issue. Obviously, loyalty points don't apply to free agents. But Finnemore going to Atlanta, T-Roy. This is really interesting because they've got Boot Chisholm and Siege Falco. Finnemore was the 2 in Houston, but I believe, and we could look at where Atlanta is at. Finnemore's gonna play the 3. Adobe has re-signed to be the 4 in Atlanta. This is a very strong receiving core for the Swarm, and maybe a bit of a stunner that Finnemore kind of, I guess, took a step back in the pecking order. Really believes in Atlanta being able to turn things around after a difficult season last year.
You said the main thing. He believes that Atlanta can turn it around. And it's not bad to have so many weapons on offense. You want to give Brian Dicey every opportunity he can to just dominate in the passing game. Having a player like Kyle Finnemore helps him with that. Last season, 50 receptions, 891 yards. He ranked 5th in average per catch with 17.8 yards per catch, and he has 6 TDs. A big signing to help improve that offense, and you don't want to be one-dimensional, and having 4 wide receivers is going to make it hard to predict where the ball is going to go.
Marco Swift in the ESTV YouTube chat saying that Finney was with him in Albuquerque. He's a monster, and also played with Marco in Houston. So, with Finnemore in Houston. So, Atlanta getting themselves a great signing, and that's super great stuff out of Atlanta. All right, let's go back to the contracts. Get a hard reset on things. Get a hard reset on the webcam that is being very finicky today, and take a look. Let's see. Do we have any more? Oh, there's some Minnesota legends rolling in. There's a Canton Classic rolling in. It's Kendra Hall with the first triple-digit free agency contract of the day. 103.24. Kendra Hall going to Canton at wide receiver, steals the moment. John Michael Sudduth to Louisiana is
right.
big. That's very interesting, T-Roy, because he played with you as the tight end too. Y'all beat Louisiana in the semis. He goes to Louisiana to fill that tight end spot left open by Frank Wade. We're still waiting to see where Frank Wade might go. He was very public about his tour around the SFL and free agency. No surprise out of Minnesota that they haul in Jason France, Axel Raven, BJ Loveless. They're all a part of that staff there. And Mark Martin goes to Charleston. Marco Swift has come through in Tulsa. He had joined their staff as well earlier this offseason, so we knew that was coming. T-Roy, 60 seconds on what we've just seen before we take our first break.
One, happy for John Michael Sugg. This is the same situation as King Rashid. He wants to have the opportunity to get the tight end one spot. I hate to see a former Baltimore player leave us, but I can't hate on somebody who wants to take the next level up. And he saw his opportunity with Louisiana, so I wish him the best. And Kendra Hall, big contract signing, the number 2 receiver in Vancouver, going to be most likely the number 1 receiver in Canton. She's ready to make a huge impact after doing so in Vancouver.
What's also interesting there is Lone Star, Hank Earl Troll. Now, does that sound familiar to you, T-Roy? That sounds like
Yes,
James Troll to me. It looks like he signed as a basic, a base copper, as we say in the SFL, tight end. So he's starting from nothing at the tight end position. Adam, I don't know if he's going to be the tight end 2 or 1. Of course, Adam Williams retired from Lone Star, so that's going to be interesting what Lone Star decides to do there. But we're here to break down all of this and so much more. Nathaniel Diggs, now of the DC Dragons, joins us coming up next. And as the free agency frenzy, free agency live continues here on ESTV, we'll be right back after these messages.
All right. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I had to come around the front of the house. They're all screaming in the back.
Congrats, man.
Yeah, my boy was excited. I let him hit that submit button so he could sign it. Because, I mean, that's who my player's named after. Is my oldest boy, so he's always excited about it. Oh, yeah.
I don't hate it.
Welcome back to Free Agency Madness here with T-Roy Gaines, and we've had an exciting start here to ESTV's coverage of the SFL, and we've got a lot to talk about. On the line with us, Nathaniel Diggs, now joined the DC Dragons, outside linebacker, 68.43, one of the first signings to come across the wire. Nathan, how you doing?
Good. Glad to be on.
Glad to have you on, and it's congratulations are in order to you, and as we go through all of these signings, it's easy for some signings to get lost in the shuffle, but not yours, and not for your son either. Your player named after your son, and it's always super important to get family involved. Describe to me the Diggs household during these moments of early free agency.
Well, he's excited. He's got a mix of both. He's actually in the pool, and I let him hit the submit button to sign the contract, and he comes down and watches the old games where he can see his own player on the field, and he's a big video game kid, so he's excited about it, and it was a good experience to be able to have with him. He wasn't there when I went through the draft process, so this was a little bit more special, being able to do that with him. So
That's terrific, and always good to get the young ones involved. And uh, what went into the decision of going to DC, and what were the conversations like? I think one of the things that most people at home don't realize, number one, that the players are real people. Number two, that every season players sign new contracts and get an opportunity to go to new places. But number three, just all of the conversations that go on behind the scenes with these players, with this front office staff of all the teams across the league. So, what was your free agency experience like, and why did you ultimately choose DC?
uh, it was an experience. It was a lot more humbling than I expected. I had probably about 13 or 14 teams reach out, and I gave everybody the chance to speak and listen to the pitch, and I had a hard time deciding between a few of them. And I've got a lot of friendships even just being here the short amount of time I have, with BJ and Clear, and a lot of people that I played with, Robert Cherry, and there's a lot that goes into it. AJ and Eddie Gage. There's a lot of great quality people here, and it makes it hard to make a decision. And I know one thing I battled with in my process was, you know, uh, saying I was going to stay somewhere for a bit, and I really thought there was expansion coming a little bit later than what it did. So I kind of thought I'd have that little bit extra time to play with Hubba and BJ and a lot of the people that I kind of knew, and it didn't happen. And that kind of played a part into me wanting to test some waters and kind of look for something to be a little stable for a little bit. And I had a buddy that I talked about when I found this league. It was Mike Churchill. He introduced me to the league, and it took me about 5 or 6 months to actually make a player. He had to talk to me for a minute, but it was kind of a, a chance to build some stuff. I have some long term goals I'd like to look at with Mike and the SFL, and this was a chance for me to weigh in on that and see how we do in a locker room together, and if it meshes and continues, we can push forward with that. And it was kind of a stability thing, with all the craziness going on this off
Mm-hmm.
season, with what's coming in free agency and all that. It was the stability part kind of played a part in that. No one, Mike's probably not going to go anywhere for a long time or whatnot, and every year's different. I may get in this locker room and not mesh with something, or it may not be like that place that feels like home that everybody talks about. And it may take another time, but right now, I liked what I heard. I liked the vision, and you know I'm I'm going home here, so it's exciting.
T. Roy, Nathaniel leaves Queen City, right? Your rival, your division rival. Queen City leaves your division, and then Nathaniel goes to a team that's in your division, DC. You just can't get rid of the guy, right? I
Ah,
mean,
right. And I thought, he felt like was in Queen City for a long time. As you remember, we did that game, Queen City,
yep.
Baltimore, one of the fan games there this earlier this season. It just seemed like Nathaniel Diggs was just been a Queen City member for a long time. However, I am very happy for him now playing in the DMV, but at DC. So it's going to be uh, very interesting when we face each other, because it's obviously our division. We going to face each other. That's a given.
Oh
That's
yeah.
spoiler alert. So I gotta watch out for him open up a can of whoop butt on me when we play each other this season.
Again, right? Again.
Yeah, again.
Um, Jose Fuentes joins the team. Nathaniel at defensive tackle, and you mentioned Mike you mentioned Mike Churchill, but I know that you obviously talked to some other DC personnel as well. What's the vibe you get out of the Dragons?
Uh, the vibe I got out of the Dragons is, they've been improving. They've been improving every season, and last year they hit the playoffs, and they think they're right at the edge there, and to really make a big push. And winning is winning and losing is losing. it's more about the experience for me than it is, being somebody that's, out here, possibly trying to chase a ring or, thinks winning is 100% everything. This is way more of a family feel than I thought it would be. This league itself. I've been in a lot of simulation leagues, and this one's just felt different from the start. How welcoming everybody is, and even talking to all these owners through free agency, everybody was extremely professional, and it was uh, a different take on it.
Well, Nathaniel, thank you so much for joining us. Congrats on your signing to DC, and look forward to seeing what you look like in a Dragons uniform this season.
Well, I'm looking forward to this coming season. The shake-up with the addition of these people, these 4 extra teams was crazy, but seeing where all these big names go and where people are leaving from and going to, it's really going to shake up the divisions more than it already has. So I'm excited for it. You all have a good one.
You too.
You
Thank
too.
you so much, man. All right, T-Roy, let's get a refresh on here. I feel like we're going to see a whole lot more interesting things come across the wire. We got some good ones here. All right, let's start at the bottom. Justin Williams at fullback going to Tulsa, leaving Houston. Evan Lacey to Canton. Wow,
yes.
I did not see that coming. That is a big pickup for Canton. Their second. I think it might be time to talk to Christian Lacio. We may have him coming up at 3:30. At 4:30 rather. One of the owners of the Canton Classics, but they get a huge new pickup. And Christian, I'm working on the fly here, so if I misspelled your last name there, just forgive me. But let's see, David Tilley going to Arizona. It's a good pickup. DJ
Nice.
Bandit is going to play that tight end 2 spot left vacant by John Michael Sudduth. Bandit chasing a ring, baby. He wants to get in on that Baltimore Magic, so that's exciting. There's the Indianapolis Ramblers' first signing, Adam Wiseman. That's no surprise. One of their co-owners, Kappa Jones, in Queen City. Lyric Da Vinci leaves Charleston, goes to Louisiana. Doug Day has made his decision and his position, T-Roy. He's coming back to strong safety, and he's going to Fort Worth. Doug Day, of course, used to play for Lone Star. They are bitter rivals. And here's some free agent signings for Minnesota. Johnny Bravo, we knew about. He was going to be on the coaching staff. One Mississippi, from Denver to Minnesota at outside linebacker. And then Buster Johnson on the defensive line for the Minnesota Legend. Getting that team built. Now 6 transactions across the wire. So, T-Roy, what are your thoughts on this next crop of free agents?
Well, we'll start off with Canton. I'm not going to go bias yet on mine, but we'll start off with Canton, getting Evan Lacey, leaving Lone Star, get a very, very productive person at the secondary at the safety position. Evan Lacey had 255 career tackles. 5 of them were tackles for loss. He has 22 interceptions. 1 was a pick 6, 24 pass deflections. So that defense, you don't want to throw it to Evan Lacey's way. We had to deal with a Lone Star 2 times last year. Fortunate enough they got the W, but it was hard to get the win, especially going against the defense and Evan Lacey himself. So a great pickup by Canton. Now, I'll talk about DJ Bennett. I'm glad to have him. Last season, it was between him and John Michael Suff. We chose John Michael Suff last season. Again, now John Michael's with Louisiana. DJ Bennett, we're fortunate enough to pick him up this go around, and I think he's going to fill in the shoes nicely for John Michael Sudduth. I think he's going to be a very welcome addition to our locker room. As Nathaniel Diggs said, you want to have a family atmosphere. I felt like he will definitely fit in that mode, but as we see Kappa Jones going to, if I'm not mistaken, that is Queen City.
Yep.
That's a good pickup for Queen City. Again, filling up that defense.
And I think he's a re-signing, but he's shifting positions. It looks like he's going to play linebacker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was originally a safety. He is now going back as a linebacker. So that's actually he played for DC last season.
Okay, there we go.
But he's going to be a linebacker for Queen City. So it's going to be interesting how he makes that transition. Maybe he could be a reverse of John Lynch type of linebacker instead of safety, big enough to open up a can on them people. He had 34 interceptions. 2 of them were pick six. The 34 interceptions, 49th, ranked 49th all time. Kappa Jones been in the league for 8 seasons now. His 869 tackles ranks 14th all time. So Queen City sure up that defense right now.
Kappa Jones actually spent 4 seasons in Queen City, season 14 through 17. Played for DC last season, and now comes back. So that's what. But my brain was really thought he played for Queen City, but he spent a season away. Actually had a career high 64 tackles a couple seasons ago when playing for the Corsairs. Had 2 picks last year with DC. So that's an interesting one. The chat seems to be talking about a big quarterback signing. So we're going to refresh that. And wow, there's a lot that has come across the wire. That is, I'm looking for it. There you go. OJ Bruin for Queen City leaves Portland. 110.66 value. Look at GP Wells, Houston, 124.48. That's
nice.
That is thick out of the Houston Headhunters. Jack Wall to Canton at tight end leaves Jacksonville. That is surprising, and is going with the Canton Classics. Another big free agent signing for Canton. Let's see, Terrence Weary, wide receiver, going to London to fill the opening of Mike St. Green. Matt Fennick is at kicker for Lone Star. Chad Stinson is going to Los Angeles, and Chad Stinson and John Nevels are father and son. So that's an important note to make there. Kevin Brackett, Saren Storm, and Moore Rivers going to Charleston. Welcome back the former number 1 overall pick, Moore Rivers, huh? It's great to see Moore back in the league.
Yeah, and he's, those who are in SFL Discord and looking at Gen Chat, you see Moore Rivers, constantly, contributing to the Gen Chat. So it's very good to see him back after some time off. Welcome back, sir. Also, welcome back to Saren Storm. He was a free agent, didn't play for a team previously, so he's now back to wreak havoc, joining Moore Rivers and Kevin Brackett with Charleston. GP Wells.
Woo.
I was wondering where he was going.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I was shocked that Brad Jones was leaving Houston. So I was wondering how they're going to fill that gap. And they filled that gap in the best way in getting GP Wells, a guy who was first out of everybody. First in receptions with 124 yards. 124 receptions, 675 yards receiving. Then he had just short of 1,000 yards rushing, averaging 4.9 yards per carry with 16 rushing touchdowns, ranked 3rd. A dual threat, probably the next BDG Hollywood in this league. I think the Headhunters picked up one of the best running backs in free agency right now.
That's a huge get. Now the question is, where is Brad Jones going? He was the rookie taken by the Houston Headhunters last season, during last season's rookie draft, and we'll find out. Christian Lacio will be joining us on the other side of this break. The Canton Classics have made some noise. Jack Wall, Evan Lacey, Kendra Hall, and I'm sure many more. Free Agency Live here on ESTV continues next. Stay with us. back here on free agency madness. More contracts coming in from over the break. Marcus Dunhill, quarterback, goes to Fort Worth.
Wow.
Left Jacksonville and is the new quarterback of the Fort Worth Toros. They will not be starting over with a new quarterback. That is a huge signing. Bob Funk also signs with the Canton Classics, and we have one of the owners of the Canton Classics here with us, Christian Alacio, KJ Alacio. How are you doing? What a big day for this franchise.
It's a huge day for us, man. Absolutely. It's our very first free agency period. This is also new, and I'm thankful that it's been as exciting as it has been so far.
Let's start from the beginning. Kendra Hall decides to go to Canton. Where'd you start with that? What was the process like? Did you say, "Oh, we're going to get Kendra Hall," or did you see her post about testing free agency and jump all over? What was that process?
No, we this came about through a relationship with our GM. He had her on his list of players that he wanted to go get. Of course, when he brought that up to us, we knew exactly who she was. We knew exactly what she was capable of. We knew exactly how she could perform and what she could bring to a team. And what made it make more sense was that the Canton Classics are built off of real-world opportunities, right? Giving our players real-world opportunities. What made it all just make sense is that she is an Ohio native. She is in the area. We needed to also have somebody to be boots on the ground with that, since none of us actually live in Ohio, right? So Kendra just made all the sense in the world from a player standpoint, from a business standpoint, from everything that we were trying to do, and we are just so blessed to have her.
We have more across the wire. It is Robert Johnson, your new running back, a 109.95 hit against the cap. Connor Darien of Jacksonville also leaving the Kings and going to Canton with teammate Jack Wall. I assume you would like to start with Robert Johnson. I think you're pretty excited about that.
I am beyond thrilled about Robert. Ever since we had the interview with him, he was just saying so much of the right things, man. Wanting to be the greatest of all time, wanting new running backs to look at his player and wanting to model themselves after Robert Johnson, you know? So when we started talking about Reggie Streeter and that amazing season, and then we started talking about how Twin Screw was the guy, you know, that helped out tremendously, obviously, with Streeter being the legend that he was. It all made sense for a guy like Robert Johnson, who wanted to be the GOAT. He wanted to be known as the greatest running back that this league had ever seen. That was just a plug-in, man, and he got me excited. Just how much he was talking about. I want to be the GOAT. I want to be the GOAT. And I said, man, Canton is the place for goats, is it not? As far is that not where goats go? So this made perfect sense, man.
T-Roy, you got anything for Christian?
Well, you guys are starting off the ground running, especially with not only what's going on the field, but what's also going on off the field with special event going on in Canton, Ohio, right around the time, if I'm not mistaken, the convention. So you guys have been very, very on point so far, and I'm very happy with the signings that you guys got. And Robert Johnson, that does sound good. This is what you want to hear in a starting running back, a guy who wants to be a legend. You think of Emmitt Smith. He told when he joined the team in Dallas in the other league that he wants to be the best of all time.
Oh yeah.
And now you got a player who is saying that here, and he had a great season last season. I see why you want to pick him up. He was ninth in rushing with just under 1,200 yards, 12 rushing TDs, averaging 4.8 yards per carry. That's ranked 11th and 12th, respectively. And he's a good receiver out of the backfield. So whoever's going to be your quarterback, you got a nice check down with Robert Johnson for sure.
Oh yeah, thank you, man. It's really hard not to get excited about a guy like that.
Christian, what's this process been like? This is your first time. It's your first time doing it on any level in the SFL, and you've got 6 players down, plenty more to come, I'm sure. And like you finally reached this moment in the franchise's history, and just what are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling just all kinds of relieved, really.
That actually
super.
exists.
Yeah, man, this is a real thing now. It's what started out as a concept and an idea, and I'm just really stoked to move into that next chapter. For me, that's the way my brain works. It kind of works in chapters, right? So we were done now with the bidding process. That chapter's closed. Time to move on to the next and the next and the next stage, and we just need to continue to execute. At every single stage. As long as we keep doing that, I think this team has a great shot of being really successful on and off the field.
Anybody that you've seen come across the wire that you tried to get that you've now circled as hoping to play them this year?
No, really, everybody that is on this team is exact. They were all intentional, and we got exactly who we wanted. So no, I'm lucky enough to not be in that situation. But with that being said, there are still some teams though that I do have circled on my list of places we want to beat. But other than that, man, nobody as far as the free agency goes. And I've been blessed. Everybody we put on that board, everybody that we were intentional about going to get, also saw the vision, saw what we were trying to do, believed in it, and came on board. So we're gonna do our utmost to not let those guys down, and oh man, just so proud of who we've got, the Kendras and the Robert Johnsons and the Van Lacey's and the Jack Walls, the Bob Funks, all of these guys, absolute rock stars, man. It's hard not to be excited about them.
Can we talk about somebody that just came through your wire just recently that I'm shocked left one team, is now part of the Classics? Fullback Chris Komisak joins your squad. A very good fullback. He was a pain for us when we had to face Queen City here in Baltimore, and you guys got a very, very high value fullback to join you. That's another great pickup for you guys.
Oh yeah, man. Chris has just been phenomenal. I love his football IQ. Obviously, just with his background, with what he was doing in Queen City, but now just transitioning over to just being a player. We knew that fullback was strong. We knew that all of that was going to be a great combination, because now you're not just getting the player, you're getting somebody who can chime in every now and again when it comes to something around the coaching, right? You're getting somebody to kind of put a second set of eyes on an idea you're having, and there you go, man. So I'm super excited to have him as well, man. All these guys, not a single person on this team is not a rock star.
Gary Burney just crossed as well, former Portland Fleet player, going to play D tackle, and plenty more to cover here on the Free Agency Live show here on ESTV. This is the Simulation Football League. We're about to enter our 19th season, and Mr. Lacio is doing an excellent job along with his staff in Canton. Thanks for joining us this afternoon, and we look forward to seeing what else you have in store for us over the next couple hours.
No, thank you so much, Commission. Go Classics.
All righty. So that's a lot about Canton, T-Roy. Let's back up. Marcus Dunhill to Fort Worth. That is a huge, monumental signing. Championship-winning quarterback. We're not talking about, we picked up a veteran that hasn't played in a while to fill a spot, or, we don't know what we're going to do with a rookie. We're talking about a monumental signing there for the Toros franchise. Could change their whole trajectory.
Not only a monumental signing on the field, but just a great person, period. So this should be a great addition to Fort Worth's offense and to the locker room. Career 69% career completion percentage. That's ranked 27th all time. He has thrown for over 24,000 yards passing. That's 12th all time. And then 175 TDs. That's 11th all time. And as you mentioned, he won the championship with Atlanta back in season 14. And last season, he was the least sacked quarterback in Jacksonville. So you give him time, right. He's going to open up, a can of whoop up on opposing defenses. Fort Worth got a great quarterback. I'm very excited to see how that offense is going to turn out next year. Maybe the team that we thought was supposed to be last season actually happens this season.
They
in
weren't.
Fort Worth.
They were the only one to get a quarterback. Queen City welcoming their new quarterback with fresh OJ in Queen City. To that point, T-Roy, it's not often a quarterback the caliber of Marcus Dunhill hits the market. Queen City is moving on from A.J. Caswell, who spent his entire career there. Tom Pepper's almost entire career has been with Vancouver. Matt Wilson, all in Mexico City. You know, these guys, when they latch on to a team, you know, they don't really move all that often. And Queen City hopes that O.J. Bruin is going to be there for a while as well. Before we hit the refresh button, we will be back with more signings. Vancouver's got some signings. Andy Hamilton will be joining us to announce those as they come through the wire. We're just getting rolling here on Free Agency Frenzy. It's a lot to take in. We have a lot of players, and we have a lot to talk about in the Simulation Football League. We'll be back after this. You're watching the SFL on ESTV. Back here on Free Agency Frenzy, new contracts across. Doug Britton re-signs with Vegas. It's all about the free agents today, baby. Gary Clem, Al Dillapre Sr. going to Canton. Dillapre at nearly a 90 value. Gary Clem, pretty good player in his own right. Daniel Wright is heading to Minnesota. We have a lot of signings to get to. We have a lot to talk about, but we also want to give a shout-out to Doug Day on Twitter. It's official. My services have just been acquired by the Fort Worth Toros. So excited. Let's go Toros. Doug Day, Marcus Dunhill. Fort Worth doing a lot for their culture, so that is really fun. But right now, let's talk some Vancouver Legion football with Vancouver's owner, Andy Hamilton. He's got something to talk about, and he's got plenty to be excited about after the top record in the regular season last season, making it to the semifinals. Welcome to the program, Andy. How you doing?
Hey, Cam, I'm doing well. Can you hear me all right?
I'm doing great. And, yeah, so when do we begin the Vancouver Legion major signings?
Well, are you ready right now?
I'm ready
I'm
right
ready
now.
to hit publish if you are.
I'm ready to refresh it.
I just sent 2 of them through, so you can have a field day with that, and we can talk a little bit
How
about
far we've come, right, Andy? You just hit a button, and then I just hit refresh.
It was that easy.
Boom, there it is. Christian Brown, quarterback. Whoa.
Whoa!
You weren't kidding. Just
Wow.
Okay, we've got to talk about it. Go on. You have the floor.
I don't often come on these shows. I like to watch from afar. You guys do a wonderful job, but it's not often that you sign the third quarterback in franchise history. And we're
Wow.
excited about Christian Braun. We're excited to bring him to Vancouver and start kind of the future of our franchise.
Okay, before we talk about the future, let's talk about the past? Question mark. What's going on with Tom Pepper?
Yeah, so this offseason, same thing we do in Vancouver every offseason. We ask all our players kind of what their thoughts are on next season. From a lot of our players, we get kind of the resounding, hey, we'll be back, we'll be back, we'll be back. Tom Pepper usually is one of those gentlemen. This season as well kind of gave us the indication that he would be back. A few days later, changed his mind a little bit, decided to go ahead and pull the plug, has had enough of quarterback in the SFL. I don't think
Wow.
he'll be leaving the league as a whole, but my inkling and my understanding is that he's decided to retire at quarterback. And in that process, it meant us being able to jump into the quarterback frenzy. And the one thing, Cam, which I think is super interesting, is that it was kept very quiet. No one really came across and mentioned anything. I didn't see any bubbling up. I'm really proud of that. I think our staff, first and foremost, hats off to Michael Percoco for all the work he does as a GM. He went out and kind of found these guys and got us to where we are, but kept it real quiet, and I'm really excited about that.
Now let's turn the focus to Christian Braun. We'll get to Justice here in a minute as well, but Christian came under some fire for, some claims that he made or some things that he wanted to put out there. And I thought it was all a little unfair. And I'm sure you feel the same. And I'm sure Christian probably feels the same way too. Hey, look, we all talk. We all want to have fun in our own ways around this league. Christian's, I'm sure he's a great guy, but you probably know him now better than most in the SFL. What were your conversations like with Christian and ultimately, the decision that he was definitely going to be your new quarterback?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, Cam, who in the league at one point, including myself, hasn't said something that at some point they want to walk back on. And I think, for me and our franchise, second opportunities are huge, right? In the league, it's so easy to type something that at some point you feel like doesn't represent how you feel later. And for me, having that opportunity to right that wrong and be a different person today, be a better person today when you walk in, I think it's super important that everyone gets that opportunity. So for me, I didn't really look at that too much. It's more important to me, who are you today? Who are you moving forward? So for Christian, he talked a lot about his interest in coaching, right? And how important that is. And as you and a lot of the league know, we don't walk anyone in and put them at a coordinator position. We like people to work their way up, learn our system, learn the way that we work. James Walters is a great example of that. Christian fits with that mantra, right? He wants to learn how to win in the SFL at a coaching position. He wants to learn and be the best quarterback that he can. And I think, St. Louis, now Motor City, has prepared him for that, right? He's kind of learned some ropes there, and now he's going to learn some stuff from us. And we're super excited about that addition to the coaching staff as well as on the field. I think more importantly than that, he's excited about being in Vancouver for longer and a long period of time. And that when you're switching over a position like quarterback, running back, receiver, to a certain extent, that's important, right? You don't want someone who's going to walk in and be gone after a year or two. You want someone who wants to be with the franchise for a while. And all of our conversations were very positive in that regard. And I think Christian kind of took, not to speak for him, but I think he took his free agency carefully as well. He didn't want to jump into something that he may be, looking at moving again in a year or two.
Yeah, well, he certainly found a great home. T-Row, before I get to you, let's shift to Justice just for a sec. Blackwell comes over from Florida, and there are Blackwells all over this league, but Justice taking a different path here as he looks to kind of fill a void that Kendra Hall left. I know Chris Curtis will be involved with that, and Brett Killian as well. But unless you have some more news, Andy, but Justice, I've talked with Justice before on the phone before. Great guy as well. Your thoughts on that signing?
Yeah, really looking for a home. Justice is, like you said, a great guy. very active, very interested in the community aspect of the SFL and of a locker room in general. We were super excited when his name kind of came across as a possibility. Chris Curtis, obviously, Brett Killian, we have these great receivers. To add someone of the caliber of Justice Blackwell feels so similar to when we got Chris Curtis a few years ago, right? And similar to Christian Brown. That's a signing where Justice wants to be here for a few seasons at least, right? He wants a home in the SFL, and we're excited to kind of provide that as an opportunity for him to grow, not only with Christian at the quarterback position, but with the team as well, right? We're a team that has had the opportunity to be on the doorstep of some championships, just trying to get over that hump. And I think Justice and Christian both go a long way to getting us there, but both are really pieces that we kind of see, and I hope they see it as well, and it sounds like they do, that this could be their home for seasons to come. And we're excited for that. We're excited to add them to the family. As with every free agency, it's been a long wait to get them in the locker room. We're excited about it. I know they have been itching to get in the locker room, so we're excited to bring them both into the fold, both team fits, both family fits. So we're excited for that.
T-Roy, what you got?
Well, I do love the fact that you guys got Christian Brown, because he definitely is a person that's very efficient in terms of completion percentage. 70% completion he ranks 13th in completion percentage, which is 70%. 13th in passing yards of 3,370 yards with 15 TDs. And now you got the weapons surrounding him. I'm sure that he was very careful, but very happy to join your squad after seeing how well Tom Pepper has performed all these years, all these seasons, and see how well Kendra Hall has performed. So Justice Blackwell could be like, oh, okay, I'm part of this elite wide receiving group with Brett Killian and Chris Curtis. So you guys, I don't think you guys are rebuilding. You definitely reloaded with getting Christian Brown and Blackwell to join your squad, Andy.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's really how we look at it. It's not a rebuild, it's a reload. We always kind of have that mindset to a certain extent. Michael Percoco does a really good job of trying to figure out where we can improve. As a franchise, we don't cut anyone. We bring everyone back. So the opportunities to add free agents that are, sometimes better than the players that are on the roster are few and far between, right? Because we're very loyal to those players. We love having everyone in this family that we do have. So when those players do decide to depart, we have to kind of reload and look to get a little bit better with our opportunities. And I think we've done that in two regards, and we're really looking forward to bringing these two players into our family, into the fold for a very long time. So we're very excited.
Mr. Hamilton, thanks for joining us and helping boost our ratings.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Take care. That was Andy Hamilton, the owner of the Vancouver Legion. What a big signing. Much more to get to. We're back to wrap up the first hour with T-Roy and move on with our show. Plenty more to get to as the transactions are starting to backlog, T-Roy. We got plenty to talk about. We'll be back to Free Agency Live after this. Welcome back to Free Agency Live. More contracts coming through. We're 1 hour into our 3-hour program. Caesar Ackerman of Jacksonville, the Kings finally get a win as he signs a tight end to replace Jack Wall. Christopher Ochoa is going to Charleston. Ethan Kai to Seattle. Mark Gronick and Rob Ems to Canton. Brady Clark, Zachary Patton to Seattle. And also didn't mention earlier, but Angela Meerkat going to Minnesota at defensive end. Big signing there for Minnesota. We'll see if Derek is not that far behind. Daniel Wright also going to Minnesota. Haven't had a ton of time to talk Legends football yet. At 5, we're talking London Knights with Liam Crowder. 5:15, Tom Rahman with Los Angeles. And 5:30, Chad Rowland with Indianapolis. Los Angeles signed John Nevels, Shea Carroll. That's a big one. Logan Jack, the former Carolina Skyhawk running back, which we assumed since he was going to be the general manager. But we're 1 hour into the program. Look at all these signings, T-Roy. I mean, it is just filling our screen. It all started with Mike Jones. Just want to give a shout-out through the list. Mike Jones, Stephen McMichaels, Adrian Ellis, David Ware, Orain Darby to Motor City. Haven't talked about that too much yet. Nathaniel Diggs, Jared Crow to Las Vegas. Jose Fuentes, Kyle Finnemore to Atlanta. Fuentes to D.C. King Rashid to Motor City. Joseph Sabolka to Queen City. David Gears to Seattle. Marco Swift to Tulsa. John Michael Suddeth to Louisiana. Mark Martin to Charleston. Mr. Trolls starting a new position at tight end for Lone Star. Kendra Hall to Canton. Evan Lacey to Canton. Jason France, Axel Raven, B.J. Lovelace to Minnesota. Justin Williams to Tulsa. These are all, for those of you at home trying to get your head around the SFL, these are all players who are changing teams, who played on teams last season and who are going to different teams this season. G.P. Wells over in Houston. Jack Wall to Canton. O.J. Bruin to Queen City. Chad Stinson to L.A., Kevin Brackett, Charleston. The list goes on and on and on and on up to Caesar Ackerman, who just recently signed. Shout out to Motor City's graphic department. This is a great-looking free agent signing graph, if I do say so myself. Right, T-Roy?
Yes, it is.
First free agent signing that dotted the line, Orain Darby, sneaky fast, ready to tear up the field in Motor City. He signs earlier this afternoon with the V8s. V8s with that rebrand going on and looking pretty good out there. When we come back, Liam Crowder's got some London Knights news to drop. I haven't seen much from London on the Wire so far, but we'll get with him. Our number 2 of Free Agency Live is coming up next. Stay tuned. Back here on Free Agency Live, Free Agency Frenzy. You can call it whatever you want. It sure is exciting with T. Roy Gaines on the line with me, and very soon as well, Liam Crowder of the London Knights. Before we bring on Liam, let's take one last look at the refresh of the transaction wire to see if we've missed anything. A couple.
Yes, we did.
Joey Swint from Jacksonville. Garrison Blue has made his decision. I would love for Garrison Blue to come on the show. He did a great job of talking about all the different places that he visited and things that he saw, and he really had a lot of fun with it. He has made his choice. He's going to Lone Star. That means that Blue will actually be taking over for Williams. That answers that question, and Troll will be the tight end 2 over in LSG. Now over to LON. Mr. Liam Crowder, how are you doing this evening?
Hello, Cameron. Always a pleasure. And yeah, I'm feeling very good. It's not been a very busy day for us in London, but we're fine with that. We've got a lot of our business done. Looking forward to the SFL draft. And yeah, we're very confident about making a run at the North Division title and getting back to the playoffs in the 3rd season in a row. So yeah, very excited.
And it's not often we do one of these shows and I'm talking to you before midnight. So that is always a treat, right?
Indeed. Yes.
So not a very busy day for London. Do you have anything for us, or would you like to go over the what you've seen out of your division?
We've got the one signing in Terrence Weary. We're very excited to have him on board. He's going to be filling a key spot as a wide receiver for us, obviously replacing Mike, but we're looking to help develop him and working to elevate the play of our other wide receivers. Obviously got a big key franchise part in Vin Kalia. And then we've got Fox Highwind, who returned to us, had a productive season last season, and he's going to be stepping up into wide receiver 2 role that he's very much deserved. But we're very excited. We've got a very hot passing game led by Johnny Pickler, and we've got that core of our offense in place. And we're also adding Tiberius Bovine. We're moving him over to fullback and looking to add some additional running power in addition to what I hope will be a breakout season from Robert Merrill. So we're very excited. Everybody across the team has done an amazing job, both in the back office. I know I have to give special credit to Johnny, especially for everything that he's done, helping to, reach out to guys to make sure that, we knew that this was going to be a season, an off season of transition from having guys who were part of the team for quite some time and gone into ownership. We see that as a positive. We're really proud of guys who like Chad Rowland and Mike St. Green, but we know that with the team that we've put together and the staff that we've put together, that we're going to really push on, and we want to win that North Division next season. It's going to be tough. We've got Canton doing some excellent recruitment. They've got an excellent ownership group over there who've just come in. You got
they just added Jay Rock. Yeah. Just want to let you know, Liam.
So Canton they're going to be really competitive. We got Motor City, and we've also got Queen City as well. So North Division, it's going to be as competitive as ever has been. I'm sure T. Roy can attest to this. I'm sure that not many people would be wanting to face off with Baltimore, but you never know. With the way that we played last season, I have a feeling that they might sneak onto our schedule somehow. So yeah.
You can live stream this schedule release show also on your ESTV Plus app. You can download the ESTV Plus app on your Amazon Fire TV and Roku devices, along with Android and iPhone on their respective stores. T-Roy, do you have anything for our friend from across the pond?
Look, one thing, Liam, I think it was very important that you guys was able to keep Johnny Pickler. I know the rumblings that was going on chat or whatever was that will Johnny Pickler join Chad Rowland in Indiana? You guys were able to keep him. That's a key factor, I think, in this league. This is a quarterback league, and having a quarterback in the same caliber as Pickler on your squad still was amazing. But my big question to you is, how are you able to convince the Hall of Famer to move from tight end to fullback? I think that's a great move, because having the fullback to help with the running game, while you already have key players on the O-line, it's going to do you guys wonders next season.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was much for Tiberius as it was for us. We floated the idea because we were looking to, make our offense even more dynamic than it already is. We really started to see Robert come through in the latter stages of last season. And we're hoping to continue to build on him. He's moving back to more of a finesse style than what he was before, but we're excited to get not only him but also Tiberius involved in a rushing game. And I think for him it was as much of a case of he wants to go to the Hall of Fame as a two-time. He wants to go as a tight end and a fullback. And we're certainly going to try to facilitate him as much as possible. But I think it's worth, because I'm a very offensive-minded person in terms of my game planning, but I do want to call out the defense as well. We've got Emmanuel Blackman, who's going to be stepping up into, he's going to be continuing to build upon his Defensive Player of the Year nomination. Anthony Wyo, Tanner Hendricks, Brandon Ewing, Jack Russell, Jeff Garnier, all of the guys, Tony Roberto, Telemac Scarborough, and our defensive linemen, myself included. I think the key thing for me was, I think Andy pointed it out, a philosophy of teams now is we want to keep everybody, because everybody brings stuff to the locker room and is a really key part of, what makes the London Knights who they are. It's not about me. It's about everybody in the locker room, and to continue to build upon that. And the amazing retention rate we have season upon season, no matter who steps out, we can bring new people in and they'll immediately fit in. And I want to give a big thank you to all of the guys in London for being part of our code, our Knights code as we call it in our locker room. And we're looking forward to showing what we can do going into the next season, and also going into the draft and drafting a couple of rookies and adding some fresh blood to the pack as well. So, yeah.
Liam, thank you so much for offering your perspective. Congrats on the Terrence Weary signing. The North just got a whole lot more interesting today as Motor City, Queen City, and Canton begin to catch up in building their rosters to catch up to the London Knights. Liam, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, Cam.
All right, T-Roy, a few more across the wire here. Minnesota's doing some interesting things. They really seem to be taking advantage of guys who just didn't see a lot of playing time, right? A lot of two-way guys, and even some veterans too. Jay Taylor is going to move to wide receiver, played tight end in Charleston, played for Minnesota, and Adam Banks is also going as wide receiver. He was over in Louisiana. Let's get a quick look at the at where Minnesota stands right now, because they've been doing a lot today. There's their roster. No running back or quarterback announced just yet, T-Roy, but they're putting together a pretty good squad here.
Yes, they are. And with Jay Taylor and Adam Banks, you just mentioned the key thing. They want to get a better opportunity than what they have now. And they signed some pretty good contracts. Jay Taylor, 97.85, while Banks was 80.57. So you're wondering, why would Minnesota give him those high contracts? Well, let's look at Jay Taylor, 622 yards receiving. He averaged 14.5 yards a catch with 6 touchdowns, which is tied for 22nd in the league. But when your receivers are averaging over a first down, you definitely want that weapon on your squad. And Adam Banks, same thing. He wants a better opportunity to shine, in my opinion. He only had 12 receptions for 151 yards, but every time he makes a catch, he makes the best of it. 12.6 yards per catch, And believe it or not, Banks led Louisiana in that category. So having those two players joining Minnesota's squad will help that offensive ranks. They just need to get that quarterback and that running back, as you mentioned, to make that offense, more complete.
Derek Meerkat in the chat seems to be taking all of the shine away from his wife, Angela, who's signed with Minnesota. He is still not signed, and he is asking everyone to say his name, and we're just asking him to sign somewhere.
So where are you going, Derek?
So that's kind of funny. That's it. That's a little interesting. Coming up next, we've got Tom Rahman on to talk about the Los Angeles Lycans. It's been a busy offseason for LA. They have a new running back. Their old running back went to Canton, and they continue a rivalry brewing with Carolina over these players. We'll talk to him about what's going on in Lycan Land, that beautiful new rebrand, and so much more as free agency frenzy continues. You're watching the SFL on ESTV. We'll be right back. Free agency madness continues, and the madness of trying to keep up with the wire continues. Derek Meerkat did already sign with Minnesota, signed with his wife. Still, boy, yes, I said your name, Dan. You're right. T-Roy, if you say it 3 times, does he appear behind you in the bathroom mirror? Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's like, is that Beetlejuice or what was other? Say that 3 times, Beetlejuice. What was it, like Candyman? You say that 3 times?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to do that experiment another time.
How about never? I don't want none of the smoke there.
Plenty to talk about today. A couple of signings during the break. Luther Gond is going to Fort Worth, and Jorge Torres is going to D.C. at free safety. But right now, we're here to talk some Lycan football with what is it, Tom? Is it co-owner now? Is it I think you're still co-owner there. I know Sully's involved with the ownership group. One of the owners of LA, Tom Rahman. How you guys doing?
We're doing good. Thanks for having us on, Cam.
Thank you for being on. All right, plenty to get going on the Los Angeles Lycans here today. Let's just facilitate through your contracts because there's been a lot going on. You've got 4 that came through the wire: Chad Stinson, Logan Jack, Shea Carroll, John Nevels. Floor is yours to talk about what we've seen today out of Los Angeles.
So I think one of the ideas we had in Los Angeles was we needed to not rebuild per se, but move away from being Chicago Junior.
Mm-hmm.
And so, moving a couple pieces around, we knew as soon as expansion hit, there was going to be, a couple names leaving. So it gave us an opportunity to kind of change our game plan. And I think back when I was coaching in Las Vegas, I was a lot more comfortable with the finesse running back, and this gave us a chance to bring somebody else in to give us a different look, kind of change things up a bit. Obviously, last season wasn't great for us, and I think we're just looking for what it is that we can do to alter that, to get back to the playoffs and start winning games in the playoffs.
Your social team has been active, posting highlights and things of these new guys, and Los Angeles has. I just ask it like this, Tom. Have you stolen any more Carolina players and vice versa today that y'all were trying to get? Have we seen any more of that?
I think we're done with those types of transactions. Having a developmental team like Carolina has been great for us.
Oh, shots fired.
Oh, man. Come on, Tom. Wow.
There's just a lot of strong relationships that have lasted since some of the LA ownership had moved over. So
yeah,
it was good. It's good for us.
No kidding. Boy, I wonder if that game's going to be on the schedule. You can find out Thursday on ESTV in the afternoon to see what's going on with that. You announced y'all's rebrands on the same day. You just you're all over each other. In fact, I was having to communicate with the teams, just a little SFL behind the scenes here. I was having to communicate okay, well, y'all might not want to do it right now because they're doing theirs right now, and so it's funny how that all comes together. But now that you're kind of moving forward, you're trying to take that next step as an organization. Tom, what does this season and this roster mean for y'all? I know that Ryan Yosef is incredibly underrated, as I'm sure a lot of people on your staff are.
Well, with bringing in Logan Jack to take over as GM, it gives Ray some more time to help with game planning and running sims, which we really were lacking last season. We brought in a few people that can help us scout, which we were also kind of shorthanded on. And so we're just looking to get back to how we started back in season 16 with a strong game plan and, only looking to win.
Wow, the chat is feisty today.
I know.
James Klein from Chicago Junior to Carolina Junior? Question mark? Any response, Tom? I think
we just, they've got a lot of great guys.
I think Fox Highwind wins, though. He said you're getting a little squirrely. I think what's on everybody's mind is Nico Squirrel re-signing as your backup quarterback. Is that happening?
Yeah, he'll be back in uniform with the number 2 on, either at backup QB or at punter, probably.
Okay, there you go. So, full team in LA. Y'all are ready to compete in the division. T-Roy, you have anything for Tom before we let him go?
Yes, I do like the acquisition of Logan Jack, and it is very important to have somebody in your front office to help alleviate the pressure from the coaching staffs by doing front office stuff, and Logan Jack should fit right in. But I'm also happy that you also got one of my former teammates who's also played for Carolina at one point, Shea Carroll. So I like the fact that you got my former Baltimore brother now playing in Los Angeles. But I meant to ask you this. What was behind the move to fullback? And you were a dangerous fullback back when we played you. I don't think it was last season, but the season before. What was behind that move?
So I when I was with Las Vegas, I was quarterback, right? And then when I went to LA, we brought in Sully as quarterback, and I built out a fullback, and I've been there since. The idea was have a player that we could kind of mold without worrying about touches or yards or game plan. Really just a utility player that can be whatever utility we need.
Tom, it was great talking with you all. You have a full team. You're stacked and ready to go for season 19, and couldn't be more excited and happy for y'all, and best of luck in season 19.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Chad Rowland coming up at 5:30 here. We got some more signings. T-Roy coming across. Talon Steele from Jacksonville to Houston. Houston has been a little quiet today, but GP Wells obviously was a big splash. But Talon Steele is no joke. I don't know what it is about Talon Steele. St. Green and I have talked about this off air while we're producing the studio show. T-Roy, I don't know how many times you played Talon Steele in your career, but the game says he's that height and weight. but he doesn't look that height and weight. He's huge. He is a monstrous player, and when he gets the ball in the open field, I don't want any part of Talon Steele. I mean, that guy's a beast.
He's going to get a better opportunity now because he was the backup to Jack Wall.
That's right. Yep.
So now he's going to get a prime opportunity in Houston with the rating of 76.4. That's his contract, excuse me. So, yeah, you don't want to mess with a big man with football. Usually there's a saying, who will usually win between a flea and a truck? And truck normally wins and splats that flea, and that's the truck that goes to Houston. The Headhunters got a headhunter on offense for sure.
Talon Truck Steel. Maybe, I don't know, to get it trending. An underrated signing. We haven't talked about it a lot as we're about to go to break, but Luther Gahn was second in the league last season in sacks, and the season before that he was pretty dang good too. And now he goes to Fort Worth with let me double check, with Jeff Duffy still there. Yep, Jeff Duffy is still there at defensive end. Jabril Curse is at defensive end. Jerry Degond played defensive tackle last season, is going to come back at defensive tackle, re-signed on June 4th. So now this is getting interesting out of this Fort Worth defensive front.
I think what they want to do is shore up the running attack and running defense. Last season, Fort Worth was 12th against the run. But their defense, they averaged about 16 points. They were ranked 16th in terms of points allowed. So they wanted to improve on that defense. And I think they did so there with that signing just now.
Coming up on the program, Chad Rowland of Indianapolis. Garrison Blue, who we saw sign with Lone Star, he comes at the quarter past, or the 3/4 past hour. And then we'll talk to Andre Krim of Queen City and the work that they did in free agency today. But before we go to break, look at that. Buchanan Simons to Minnesota, T-Roy.
Oh,
that
nice.
is huge. 98.46 is the cap hit. Minnesota gets there. I'm pretty sure that makes him the number one record weapon there. Frank Bernstein is also going to Canton, but Buchanan Simons has broke the silence. He is going to Minnesota after a tremendous career, many years spent with the Charleston Predators franchise. Super excited for Buchanan. Congratulations. When we come back, Chad Rowland, plenty more free agent signings here on Free Agency Frenzy. You're watching the SFL on ESTV. Back here on Frenzy, and look who has joined the wire. That is Pseudo Nakai, bringing back his running back and going to Carolina. A huge surprise,
Yes.
T-Roy, after Pseudo Nakai's person. Is that how you say it, right? Who's the person behind the player, right? Usually you say the player, it's Charles's player, but I guess Pseudo Nakai's person sold his ownership stake in Lone Star and is going to Carolina to be their new running back, or maybe one of them. I don't know. 83.22 is the hit against the cap, but Nakai is going to Carolina. Buchanan Simons to Minnesota. It's the day that keeps on giving, T-Roy, as we're about halfway through the program, and we haven't even hit on hardly any of these.
And here's the funny part. We're going to be hearing it through the podcast about this signing right here.
Yes.
What led Pseudo Nakai to leave his spot in Lone Star to join the running back core in Carolina? I'm definitely going to be tuning into these podcasts later on this week.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one, and we've got plenty of interesting things to get to here because the Indianapolis Ramblers have been pretty quiet. We did see Adam Wiseman come across the wire, but his co-owner, Chad Rowland, is here with us on the phone now. Chad, welcome to the program.
Cam, T-Roy, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Hey, brother.
So we heard that you had one signing. Is that right? One signing?
Yeah. Add a 3 on that.
Times 13?
Times 13. Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah, and that's not even all of them. So, but you know what? Let's just get this show rolling, right? This is all. Have a good time. So, obviously, this has already been talked about because he's going to be our offensive coordinator this season. But we are signing Colin Pierce as our quarterback.
Yep.
He's going to be the leader of this team this season. So, really excited to bring Colin back to the SFL. He had some time in Las Vegas.
There's Mike St. Green just crossed the wire as you started talking. He is always trying to steal your thunder, isn't he?
Is this real? Is this real? Did he really do that?
Yeah, he really did that right before you came on.
Of course he did. Of course he did. Mike,
great pickup with Pierce. It's great to have him back in the league, former Las Vegas quarterback.
Yep. It's really good to have him here. And then the other member of our front office, we'll go ahead and get him out of the way. Somebody that I am really excited about. We announced him a few weeks ago, is Chris Britton, coming over from DC. Chris Britton's going to be our GM, and I got to tell you, he reminds me of me when I first got into the league. Very hungry to be the best, asking the questions, just hitting the ground running. So I'm really excited to bring in Chris into the fold. So speaking of Mike St. Green, I mean, we might as well just get this out there, right? So, what's the motto? One man's trash is another man's treasure. Well, sure. I want to thank Houston for giving me my new running back, which is Brad Jones.
Oh, there it is. Oh, look at that. Look at that thick contract too. 123.82. That man's not taking any cuts, I don't think. That's
paid. Yeah, that man is going to be paid.
That is a monstrous deal. And Brad Jones leaves Houston to go to Indy. Of course, for those of you at home that don't know, Chad Rowland and Mike St. Green were both on London last season. Both of them became owners with different teams this offseason, and Brad Jones leaves Houston to go to Indy. That is a spicy signing.
Yeah, I mean, if he wants to come out and put his signing up here when I'm trying to talk, well, here you go.
Man, Houston versus Indy. Man, who knows? Anyway, go ahead.
Who knows?
Go ahead.
You never know. So obviously, keeping the ball rolling with this on the offensive side of the ball. Colin is a great addition. Brad Jones is a great addition, but who are they going to be throwing to, right? I mean, that's always the number one question. Well, let's do this first and get this guy out of the way. So obviously you're going to have one Pierce. Why not throw touchdowns to another Pierce, Randy Pierce, coming over from Houston as well to be the tight end.
Okay. All right. I like Randy. Good guy.
So Randy Pierce coming over to join his son, Colin Pierce.
Did not know that.
And, So it's going to be a Pierce-to-Pierce touchdown connection all season long that everybody's going to get to know in Rambler Nation.
So we have Pierce to Pierce in Indy. We have Fennec to Fennec in Lone Star. Are there any others that anybody can think of off the top of their head?
There could be somebody else. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah. I mean, let's just get this rolling, right? I mean, obviously, one of the things that I'm known for in London is a good passing offense, right? So, I had the pleasure of having Vin Cali and some other wide receiver. I can't remember his name now. In London. So I wanted to go ahead and get my own target. So the first one that we're going to be announcing is Ryan Roosevelt coming over from Atlanta to Indianapolis. So
and going to be at the convention too to represent the Ramblers, I do believe.
That is correct. He's going to be coming to the convention as well to represent Indianapolis. I wish I could, but with other things going on, I can't make it. So. And he's going to be the number 1 wide receiver this year. So, and looking for my number 2, I really wanted to get somebody in here that can make some big plays. And he made some big plays ever since his time in the SFLM, coming up into the SFL. This was another former target of Colin Pierce's, which was with San Jose. And that is none other than number 84, Jeff Banfield, coming over from the Dragons.
So we got Houston, DC, out of retirement, Atlanta. A lot of variety in there, Chad. You really really kind of gone all over the league.
Yeah, we're getting there. Well, and it's not done yet. I mean, we got the defensive side of the ball still to go.
That's right.
And,
you're halfway through.
So one of the guys, this was a really big target of mine that I wanted to bring in. I really was wanting to get somebody on the back end of that defense that could be one of the leaders of that back end of that defense. And that is none other than my kick returner and starting free safety, Kanye Rockefeller.
Nice pickup.
Great pickup.
So Kanye Rockefeller is going to come over and be the starting free safety. He's going to be just a beast in that back end of that defense. And I'm really excited to have him on the squad.
He going to be returning kicks for you? I know he returned kicks in DC.
Yep, he's going to be returning kicks here as well in Indianapolis.
Right.
So another player on the defensive line, he's going to be these next 2 guys are going to be the guys in the middle, right? The guys are going to go in there and make quarterback nightmares come true. And one of them is going to be none other than Derek Jinko coming over from San Diego. He's going to be moving over from defensive end to defensive tackle. So he will be the number 1 defensive tackle this season. So we're glad to have Derek on the squad as well. And then the other guy coming over from Sioux Falls is going to be none other than Corey Dobbins. Corey's going to be, the number 2 guy there in the middle, and we're really excited to have him on the squad as well.
Awesome. Hey, I don't know what it's like being being a personnel guy in the SFL, but I imagine the defensive line is some of the hardest to fill and get good at. That's why Baltimore has done such a good job over the last couple of years. But if you can get a couple of D tackles in free agency, you're already ahead of the game.
Well, and like I said, there's a few more left to sign. Obviously, we have 2 more defensive ends we need to sign, but we'll announce those at a later date. So the next guy I really wanted to announce was these 2 guys are going to be our top 2 corners this season. Both of them I'm really excited about. And one of them is going to be Blake Prine, my number 1 corner coming over from Fort Worth. So Blake Prine was a free safety for them last season. He's going to come over and be the number 1 corner this season.
Wow, that's huge. I've always loved the way that Fort Worth secondary plays. It feels like everybody gets involved, but Blake Prine getting a big opportunity at corner. That's nice.
Yep. So he's going to get an opportunity at corner, and then somebody else is really going to get a bit of opportunity as well. Last season, this guy was a very vocal member in the community. He was somebody that I've always kind of had my eye on for a while. Had a lot of conversations with him, great conversations with him, and was able to get him signed. And so coming in our number 2 corner, coming from Sioux Falls as well, is none other than Ernest McCrae Sr.
Oh, man. Great pickup. Great pickup. He is a good dude.
Yeah.
Have you talked to Ernest one-on-one on the phone yet, Chad?
We have not talked on the phone yet, but we will be here this week.
It's a great time. You're really going to enjoy it.
Alone, he's been just such a great guy. To talk to. And then, last but not least, this guy was somebody that wanted to come over as well as soon as he found out that I was going to be getting an expansion team here. And everybody's showing love to defense and offense, but nobody shows any love to the special teams, right? And so what I wanted to do was go ahead and get my kicker solidified now, because I knew a lot of things was going to be coming in next season. It doesn't know if there's going to be enough kickers in the league or not. Somebody may have to be generic. And knowing how important that spot is, I wanted to go ahead and get this guy signed. So coming out of retirement is none other than Larry Barr, who used to be the kicker for Arizona season 15. So Larry Barr is coming over and signing with Indianapolis.
That's a great pickup. Welcome, Larry, back to the league. Always liked my conversations with Larry when he was around, and he shores up special teams for sure in Indy. That was great stuff, Chad. Thanks for joining us. 13 signings.
Thank you for having me. Like I said, I got plenty of. There's some more that are going to be coming down the wire soon, but for now, those are all the guys we got. So,
all right,
unless something for me.
Perfect. Nope, I think that's it. Thank you so much for joining us, and ramble on. Is that it? Is that the hashtag?
Ramble on.
There you go.
Ramble.
All right. Thanks, Chad.
Thank you.
All right, T-Ray, put a bow on this Indianapolis barrage of signings here that we just had 13 of them.
Let's talk about the more senior of the group, and that's Kanye Rockefeller joining them. 1,005 career tackles. That's ranked 13th all time. 113 pass deflections, 5th all time. 61 INTs, that's ranked 8th. I'm only talking about his defensive stats. He's also a great returner. Great signing, great pickup. A shock. I didn't think he was going to leave DC, but he's going to be joining a good group in Indy. And then Brad Jones, we was wondering, where was he going to go after leaving Houston? And man, Chad got a very productive running back. 1,362 yards rushing, 6th last season. That ranked 6th last season. Also ranked 6th last season is his average yards per carry, 5.4. I think Chad knows a lot about Brad Jones, because Brad Jones actually torched London and Chad
giving it back
during
to
the
him.
show.
That's true.
So now Brad Jones is joining Indy, who will have to face London because they're in the same division. So I would love to see how Chad, right?
I don't. Indy is not in this. Indy's in the Central.
London's
in the North. But they may play each other. They may play each other. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what that looks like.
I want to see Indy and Houston for sure.
It would add a lot of spice to that Indy London game for sure. But yes, I agree with you. It's going to be very interesting. Schedule release comes out on Thursday at 3 Eastern on ESTV. You can check it right here. Mike St. Green and I will be interviewing people all across the league, some executives of some partners of ours, as we launch the schedule and get ready for a great season. That's going to be a lot of fun. 13 signings for Indianapolis. Before we head to break, we've seen some other contracts come across the wire. We'll talk about it when we get back, although Garrison Blue is also going to join us. Ricky Thornton is going to Charleston. How about this out of Seattle, Polytruth? You heard that album? You heard that album, T-Roy, out of Polytruth? You know he put out an album, right? It's on Spotify.
I know he put out an album, and he's also did AJ show intro. Yep.
Polytruth is a very talented man. He is going to Seattle as their tight end. Daniel Valentine is going to be a corner for the Nemesis, so that's going to be fun. Stephon Forge for Denver, signed an outside linebacker as Denver starts to get rolling. So the transactions continue to pour in just in the last 30 minutes. That's all of them on your screen. If you signed 30 minutes ago, it's already old news. That's how far or fast the SFL goes. Garrison Blue has left the screen, but he is not old news. We'll talk with Blue about his free agency adventure after leaving Louisiana and heading to Lone Star when free agency frenzy on ESTV continues. We'll be right back. Free Agency Frenzy continues here. I'm Cameron Irvine, your studio host for today's SFL Transaction Wire action. Who knew that you could get so much show out of refreshing a web page, huh, T-Roy?
Right.
It's a lot of fun every offseason. We're happy to bring it to our ESTV audience as well. And right now, we're happy to bring you one of the newest free agent signings in the SFL. It's Garrison Blue leaving Louisiana and joining the Lone Star Glory. Mr. Blue, happy to have you on the program.
I'm glad to be here, Cam. Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, it just seems like yesterday you're talking on Access Live and you're talking Louisiana Revolution football and all sorts of, and now here we are. Things change around here very quickly sometimes, and you're now a new member of the Lone Star Glory. So tell us about it. I thought it was awesome what you did with your off season, keeping everyone updated on your conversations and discussions. It was really cool. So I'd love to hear what that process was like for you.
Oh, yes, sir. It was a fun time. I learned from one of the best in Johnny Pickler to have fun with it. And that's what I wanted to do, have fun with it. And as soon as I became available, my DM started blowing up, and I didn't really think, I was going to get I thought I'd get some attention, but I didn't think I was going to get as much attention as I did. There was a couple of teams that sold themselves really well, and it really was a difficult decision. I thought this was going to be pretty easy, but it was a difficult decision. And I enjoyed visiting with some people that I haven't talked to before. And I enjoyed visiting with people I hadn't talked to in a while. But there were some teams out there that really made a strong push, and it started. I even talked to my wife about it. I said this is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. And Johnny called me up one day, said, "Hey, can we talk?" And I said, "Yeah." So we started talking. He goes, "Man, have fun with this." He goes, "This might be, or should be the last time that you go through this. Have fun with it. Just run with it." And so I did, and that's why I started posting things on Twitter, and people started following me and wanting to know what was going on. I was starting to get DMs from some people going, "How, man, this is great. You're having fun with it. That's good." And so yeah, I had a good time, and I'm very, very happy I ended up with the Glory and being with LSG.
T-Roy, you got anything for the newest tight end over in Lone Star?
I think it's pretty awesome that you're now there in LSG after being on Dave Axis's show for basically the duration of his time there, including the Lone Star edition of his show. So I know it's probably different seeing you leaving Louisiana, but to see you join LSG after being a good contributor of that show, it just put a smile on my face. I think they got a good person, a great person to join them. I know it's a glorious day for you and a glorious day for LSG. So I'm glad that you're able to enjoy it. How's it feel? Again, just to be a part of what I think is a team that's building a great family atmosphere there.
It feels great. It's kind of weird that for me to get to LSG, Dave left, so I don't get to visit with him much anymore. But it does feel like a good family atmosphere. They have been real supportive. I've gotten a lot of messages today congratulating me from them, and it's been great. I get to reunite with a former teammate of mine, Matt Finnick. Coming over and being a kicker for at Louisiana, now kicking for Lone Star, and then another buddy of mine that we came through the minors together in season 1 of the SFLM is Rain Rie. We always talked about at some point being on the same team, and I didn't even know that he was signing with LSG, and I saw his name come across the free agent thing, and I was excited about that. I have not reached out and talked to him yet, but that's going to be great to visit with him and catch up. And there's another buddy of mine, a good friend that's going to be joining me at LSG, and his name should be dropping here pretty soon. If Cam wants to go ahead and announce that, he can do that.
Good on you, Garrison.
Yep.
I
was gonna wait.
Not doing anything crazy. There it is. B Robo.
A great signing.
Going to LSG.
Yeah, Robo he's the man. Him and I in season 17, we had some good games, contributed a lot and everything, and then he was able to break out again last season, and that's to me, that was a name that was kind of flying under the radar with everybody. I didn't hear his name being mentioned, in very many spots. And for him to come over with me and to LSG and add some weapons to that squad, Dave leaving and Adam leaving, it just happened to work out for the two of us that we can come over there and contribute right away.
Garrison, you mentioned some teams that really sold you really well. You wanna give them any kudos for a job well done, even though they lost the race, or you keeping that close to the vest?
Well, I don't know if it's right if I should just name some of them or what, but I did visit with some good people. There's some great people in this league, and they, a couple of them really understood. If I told them, hey, if you would have reached out about a week earlier, I'd really consider coming to your club. Mm-hmm. But I'll keep the names to myself. But I just know that there's some great owners out there, some great front office people, and I really enjoyed visiting with them. And didn't work out, for whatever reason on some of them, but there's some great people out there.
Isn't it incredible that you mentioned in two different instances, right, that you talked with some people that you haven't talked to in a while, which is hard to believe considering how close the community is. But I feel you on that. And then the other side of it is, you get a new teammate who you have a pretty good relationship with, and you didn't even know he was going to come to Lone Star, and it's just so big. It just feels so big sometimes.
Yeah, it's just like with Matt, I didn't know Matt was going in, and Matt and I had talked this week, and we hadn't talked in a while, and so I was kind of curious about where he was going once he reached out to me and we were talking and everything, but he would not tell me where he was going, and Robo didn't say anything to me either, so I was able to keep my position quiet as well. I didn't let anybody know where I was going. I would tell people I've got a couple of teams
Right.
They're the front runners and everything. So.
Well, that is super exciting. Congrats on your tour. I really do. You did do it right, and I think Johnny's right. You gotta kind of have to take in the moment because it's not always the spotlight's not always going to be on you all the time, and when it is, you got to take advantage of it. And I think you did that quite well this off season. So congrats on your decision, Garrison. Thanks for joining us, and looking forward to seeing you in blue, red, and silver.
Well, I appreciate it, and just go LSG. It's been a glorious day.
All right, more glorious stuff. T-Roy's like, whatever. But you just saw enough of them in a championship game. They probably gave you plenty of nightmares, T-Roy, as that game was going along.
How about they gave me a nightmare before the game even started? I woke up. I had a nightmare saying that all they want, and they on the show, and they get to say that line. Oh, it's a glorious day because we won a championship.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like, so thankfully that did not come true this time.
Well, Garrison and the Glory are going to give it their best shot in season 19. When we come back, more analysis. Tom Riddell joins us here shortly from Queen City to discuss all of the flurry of moves that the Corsairs have had this offseason, what it's been like for him in the Corsair front office, and much more as transactions roll on and we get close to hour number 2. That's coming up next after the break. You're watching Free Agency Frenzy on ESTV. Back here on Free Agency Madness. That was just Garrison Blue, who was just with us from Lone Star. We'll be talking with Alessandro Tomaello at 6:15. His name's so long we can't even put it all on the screen. Damon Simeon of Houston at 6:30. Going to talk some GP Wells action among some other players that they signed, and then at 6:45, I think we may end the show with Mike All. What better way to end the show? Actually, we'll try to squeeze them both in. I think we got Ross Napoli coming in from Louisiana, but we are running out of show, so we may bring them on at the same time and do a little back and forth with the two of them. But yeah, I got a lot to cover. Hour 2 is almost in the books, T-Roy, and we saw a lot of great stuff. I think Vancouver kind of stole the show with the announcement of Tom Pepper. That was kind of a shocker. But Buchanan Simons to Minnesota was big. Some big signings out of Indy. Sudo Nakai going to Carolina was a surprise to a lot of people. There's been a lot to happen in this hour. What's your takeaway from everything we've seen?
It's looking kind of nice. He's looking very nice. Brad Jones was a big signing. We always wondering, where's Brad Jones going? Big signing there. GP Wells going to Houston. We're going to talk to my former partner, Damon Simi, about that. But GPS going to Houston. Great signing. And Kendra Hall. They got a great weapon. I can't wait for this next season to start.
Lots going on around the league. Plenty to get to. One thing that I do want to take a look at is the amount of players who have signed so far this season. That number is up to 457. There are 644 spots that are open in the SFL Pros for season 19. So the countdown is on now. Less than 200 spots available across the SFL as free agency continues to free agents continue to sign and free agency continues on. We have 1 hour of our program left. As mentioned, some guests we have left. Tom Riddell, Alessandro Tomaella will be on, Damon Simeon, Ross Napoli, and Mike All. And I believe that covers, unless I know that Justin Reside's been hanging on, waiting on a contract to come through for Las Vegas, but otherwise, I think Dion may want to be in. We have a lot in the queue, probably too much, but we'll figure it all out when we get back. Last hour of the free agency show is coming your way next. You're watching the SFL on ESTV. Back here on Free Agency Live, and joining us now on the phone is Tom Riddell of the Queen City Corsairs. He has been one of the busiest men this offseason. Tom, how you doing? Hold on, Tom. 1 second. All right. How you doing, Tom?
Not too bad. How you doing, Cam?
I'm doing great. Thanks for joining us on the program. Refresh me. I know that you're the general manager. Do you have any other titles? You're the general manager, right?
I'm just the general manager
Okay.
now. I was the director of communications and director of minor league scouting the past 2 seasons.
General manager is enough. You don't need any more titles. It's already a difficult job. But Queen City's handling it pretty nice here. You have 7 free agents to cross the wire. That adds to the 8 players, or the 7 players rather, that you already had. So up to 14 now for the Corsairs, and that's got to feel pretty good. How do you feel, first off, about the O.J. Bruin signing and starting a new era under center?
Well, our last quarterback was a very quiet leader. O.J. is not a quiet leader. He's already in that locker room going a mile a minute. Can't wait to see what he does under center for the Corsairs. We have one more signing. We're just waiting for him to get off work so we can sign his contract, and that'll be it for the free agents.
Stephen McMichaels is a really great guy.
Yep.
I've had a couple of conversations with him, and he has been one of those that is desperately looking for a home in the SFL and just hasn't really found it yet. What were your conversations with him like, and do you feel like maybe he's finally found one?
Well, Stephen is one of those guys you want to cheer for.
Yeah.
You know, he's one of the most salt-of-the-earth people I've ever spoken to. Very polite, you know, wouldn't hurt a flea. I am hopeful that he's found a home here. You know, he couldn't wait to sign with us. And you know, he's making a transition over to tight end for us. He's going to play our tight end 2 spot from fullback. So it's a new position for him and a new number. So.
Yeah, he'll be right next to James Matthew Jr. on that line.
Yep.
Matthew Jr. has been a pretty solid tight end for y'all for a long time. T-Roy, Queen City out of your division now, but I'm sure there's still plenty there with the Corsairs. But you know, what do you have for their new GM here? Tom Riddell has been doing a pretty nice job.
Yeah, Tom has been doing an amazing job, and Tom, I want to congratulate you on this opportunity because we spoke before, and in seasons prior, you wanted this in the worst way, and now you gotten it, and you are kicking butt so far. And I think it was very important for you to get a solid replacement for the legendary Caswell, who's been giving us problems from the get-go. So I'm very happy for you. How are you feeling now that you got this big role on your shoulders that you've been looking so forward for a long time to get?
Well, you know, I've been lucky. Everywhere I've go, I've learned from the people who've taught me along the way. In this last trip, BJ Lovelace was a great big help to me. Eric was a help to me. When I was in LA, the crew from LA was terrific with me. Going back to my rookie year when I was with Ramos, I've learned a bit from everybody. And, you know, I want to thank them for helping me lead me to this moment.
And I wish you the best.
Thank you.
I have to bring up Athena here.
Yeah.
The dog thing is continuing up north, and there's Andre with Athena. I'm guessing is that your bulldog?
That is. She's asleep on the couch beside.
That's great. So Canton has the dog mascot. The name is mistaking me. Mag's gonna be so mad at me. The name of the Canton mascot. Denver is over in Motor City. Colin's service dog, and then here is Athena to add into the dog mix, and that just leaves London. They gotta figure this out so that the North can come full circle. But y'all look pretty great. That's a wonderful picture too. A wonderful drawing. I mean.
Yeah, she's I've had her since she was 10 weeks old. And well, you want to talk about a pain in the butt to deal with when they don't want to do something.
Yeah.
But I love her to death, you know. And you know, one of the things I was impressed with Eric was if the dog's ever sick, he knows I'm gonna go, and he said, "How's the dog? How's the dog? How's the dog?"
Yeah.
You know, because he knows, you know, when the dog's good, I'm good. So
it's a wonderful life being a dog owner. I certainly love mine, and I love what the North is. You know, the North is getting very into that, and so
it's going to the dogs.
I gotta say, you know, when the North was put together, you know, I mean, Queen City and London, you know, stayed there, but then Canton's a new team, and St. Louis is relocating, and there's not a lot of history between those 4 teams. A little, but not a lot.
With Christian,
yeah,
he actually interned with us last year and did our graphics. So I got to know him a little bit.
That's true.
Great guy, and he's a terrific guy. The guys in Detroit, I can't wait to welcome them into the division, and let's rock and roll.
Yeah, Christian Alacio was over in Queen City, did a little work over there, ends up in the same division with him with his own team. Super exciting times. Well, Tom, keep doing what you're doing. Queen City is in a new chapter now without AJ Caswell at quarterback, and so this is a new team, and in some ways this is a lot of your team that you're building. So congratulations on the offseason success so far, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much.
All right, Chris Joseph across the wire. Thanks to Tom for joining us. Chris Joseph signs in Indianapolis at defensive end, so another defensive lineman there, T-Roy. The signings are slowing. This is typical of a free agency day, especially after the flurry of activity early. But I love what's going on over in that new North. I know you're in the Atlantic now, T-Roy, but there's something brewing up there. I like what I'm seeing.
Yeah, it's going to be different for us here in Baltimore not to be in the same division, but Canton's looking nice. Queen City starting to get their player.
T-Roy, we lost you actually for a sec. We're going to work on T-Roy's mic. We need to take a break anyway. We got Alessandro Tomello coming up after the break. Free agency frenzy continues here on ESTV. We'll be right back. Free agency frenzy continues, and we have plenty of interviews coming up, plenty of people we're going to try to fit in on the rest of this show as the signings begin to slow just a bit, but that gives us a chance to talk to some of the great people around the league. First, let's start with Alessandro Tomello, all the way from Italy to talk the Florida Storm. How are you doing, Alessandro?
I'm doing great, Cam. Thanks for having me.
Sure thing. We've got our refresh button at the ready. So what's Florida doing? Always a little bit quiet in Florida.
Yeah, we usually tend to go about our business through mostly signings and drafts. So you don't often see Florida fishing big during free agency. I'm definitely happy to be announcing this signing though, and I will try to send it through the wire.
The suspense. There it is. We got it.
Okay. So if you've followed Florida football for a while, you know that linebacker has been a bit of an issue.
Yes, it
for
has.
us.
But a lot of great players have rolled through there.
A lot of absolutely. We've been so grateful for having had the chance to have so many great players at the position, and finally we've been able to bring back Stephen Black. We've been able to bring back Ryan Tobin after switching him from free safety, and now I'm happy to announce that we're signing Aaron Gooding from the DC Dragons. We were really trying to make up our mind on what direction to follow after we knew about Red's retirement specifically, and see if we wanted to go for what kind of form we wanted to go for in our front seven. And this is mostly the work of our fabulous head coach, Art Vandelay, who has been in contact with Aaron through the minor league, because they're both on the San Jose Flight team. So, I mean, it feels just like it was a match made in heaven for us. I remember going through our old documents, and I got back my draft board for the season 18 draft, and Aaron's was number 2. We only had one pick, so I was ecstatic to know that he was available. I was very happy to get him on board, and he's going to be helping Art on his journey to coach this beast of a team.
And ever since he came into the minor league, he's been making headlines. You know, he had that sensational game where he broke the record for solo tackles, and he's been a beast ever since he got here. He helps out on stats. I'm sure DC is not happy to have lost him, but after what Eric Hammer did to you guys last season, Alessandro, you're probably like, okay, we can't do this anymore. We can't let these linebackers walk out the door and make an impact on other teams. So we hope that Aaron is able to stay many years for you guys. T-Roy, your thoughts on the Storm? Always quiet this time of year, as is your Baltimore Vultures, which is why you're on the program in the first place, T-Roy, because I knew you would be very busy. But thoughts on the the Storm and their new division, which is pretty spicy.
Yeah, and I did like to pick up with Aaron Gooden. Very shocked that he left DC. 73 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 7 pass deflections. The offense still looks stacked. He got a great O-line as well. My question for you is, are you planning on getting another weapon, Alessandro, on offense? You currently only have 2 wide receivers at this moment. Or maybe are you guys trying to go a different route? What are you guys planning on doing on the offensive side of the ball?
I will say that we are definitely looking to add another offensive weapon. Could be a wide receiver, could be a tight end, maybe. I feel we definitely want to have at least another one of those pass catchers to get some catches from Ron.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, if you only have 2, so if you don't get a third, now I'm really interested in what Florida's cooking up on the offensive side of the ball, because it very creative offense last year got Charlie Boletsky the MVP.
Yes.
Yep. Well deserving too.
Yes. So
yes,
that is very interesting. Thank you all the way from Italy, waiting for so long. Thank you for joining our program. The SFL truly is the world's game. And it was awesome to have you on, and good luck on the upcoming season.
Thank you for having me.
All right, well, that was great. Let's drag in another here. Let me get my bearings here. I believe that Mike All is next. Mike, you here? Oh, hold on. I had him muted again. You're muted, bro.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dave. We miss you, Dave.
I appreciate that, Cam.
Mike All, the Canton Classics GM, an extremely busy time for Canton today. A number of signings came across after we talked to Canton's co-owner, Christian Alacio. Al De La Pris Senior is a really interesting one from Sioux Falls. I'm just trying to think of some that we haven't talked about. The two Garys from Portland come over, Gary Burney, Gary Clem, Mark Gronick is also going to Canton. Is he coming by way of St. Louis? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So that's in the division. That gets spicy. Connor Darien, Jack Wall coming over from Jacksonville, where you were from. Jay Rock is a big addition as well. This is, I'm sure, very exciting for you. You took this job because you were looking for a new, a new opportunity, right? And a chance to build something from nothing. How do you think it's going?
So Renaissance masters be damned. This was my blank canvas, and I think I've painted a masterpiece, sir.
Well, who's your quarterback? For a masterpiece, you're gonna need a quarterback.
I didn't want to blow my load here. I wanted to save a couple for later this week.
Wow. Wow. You're hey, I'm glad we're on smart devices and we don't have to worry about the FCC.
No TOSs.
Yeah. My goodness. Okay. Well, that is a picture. Let's talk about Evan. Let's talk about Evan Lacey moving over to strong safety and a couple free safeties too. So this secondary is looking really good.
Oh yeah, I've got a lot of great guys in the secondary, and Van came to us and really wanted to be a classic, and we were more than happy to take him in. And he said he would be happy to do whatever the team needed in the backfield. And once I saw that I had the option to land me Bob Funk, I knew that the perfect thing to do would be to slide Van over to strong safety and line him up next to Bob Funk, which is going to be a strong, dangerous tandem out there in the deep backfield.
T-Roy, you're up.
Now, Mike, you are now entering a division that I used to be a part of.
Mm-hmm.
What is y'all goals for that division? Because normally it's been, fortunately for us, Baltimore that has been the kings of the North for a while. Are you guys going to come in and become the new kings of the North?
Well, we're certainly our goal is to definitely compete for that right out of the gate. That's why we signed the coaches that we did and shot for the players that we did. And Cam loves storylines. We love storylines. So taking guys from Queen City like Chris Komisak and a guy from the former St. Louis like Mark Gronick, who, they both made their mark on those teams. And just having that competition with Johnny Pickler is going to be a lot of fun, especially now that I have his brother and can watch his brother smash him to the turf. That'll be a lot of fun.
That's right, Johnny Pickler and Mark Gronick. I saw him. It was funny. There's so many storylines that interweave through the league, and I saw him railing on Mark Gronick in the chat, and I thought, what is this? I know it's something, right? I couldn't remember. So that is going to be Canton and London very spicy this season. I haven't seen a Mike All contract come across the wire.
Yeah,
Mike.
Who needs Mike All, right? we got the guy in the front office. Do we really need the guy on the field?
we need the guy on the field, and we need a guy who usually shows up in every different part of his house.
Yeah. Yeah, the draft's in 3 weeks. What are the plans for the draft? Everybody wants to know.
Well, I have ideas. But another important thing about the draft, Cam, is the first 4 picks. Which ones are those going to be?
Yeah, that's right. And we have to talk about that before this show is over and have to figure all that out. So we're going to be doing that here before we close out the show. And Mike is always keeping me on point and making sure I don't forget about anything. Not that I would or anything.
Yes, sir.
So thank you, Mike, for chatting with, stopping by and talking some Canton Classics football with us. And we'll see how that draft order looks by the end of the show. Thanks, Mike.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Here's a new signing and a new social media post for you, T. Roy. The next chapter begins. Talk about linebackers in Arizona. J.R. Lawless, out of retirement, used to play for Jacksonville, now going to Arizona. So the Scorpions make a pretty big move there. Keenan Samuels also has signed on at linebacker with Houston. So it's a linebacker-centric hour here on Free Agency Frenzy. T-Roy, your thoughts on these linebacker signings?
Love them both. I definitely know one of them for sure, Keenan Samuels. He was a part of our season 17 championship run. Good to see him join a very quality organization in Houston. So I can't wait to see how he helps that team take their game to the next level. And then also J.R. Lovelace, 242 tackles, 24 of them were tackles for loss. He's going to be bringing the pain come this season for Arizona.
We have B.J. Lovelace, J.R. Lawless, and B.J. Lovelace.
Yes.
Yeah, it's well, in a league like this, you just kind of run out of names. We got so many Mikes and Jeffs and Blakes, and yeah, we all do our best. But Lawless signs with Arizona. That's big. Arizona's been kind of quiet today, but certainly knows how to make a splash. Devon Simeon coming up at 6:30 with Houston, and we'll get the draft situation going as well. So what Mike All was talking about, if you don't know, the SFL expanded by 4 teams. You got Seattle, Minnesota, Indy, Canton. But who gets the number 1 overall pick? What is the draft order for that? And we'll be deciding that here coming up, I think, after the break and before we talk to Damon. So that's coming your way next here on Free Agency Frenzy. Who gets the number 1 pick in this year's draft as these expansion teams build to their debut on Monday, July 11th on the Vegas stage? We'll find out after the break. This is Free Agency Live here on ESTV. We'll be right back. Oh, my apologies. We had some technical difficulties and we did not have our mics on. We are talking about the breaking news. Johnny Reno and Colin Hart have just signed with Minnesota. Minnesota dropped a couple more signings, Max Knight and Mark Mello. So the Minnesota Legend are on fire right now in free agency. And
yes, they are.
And this is pretty spicy. Your first reaction outside of the ooh for Reno, Hart, and company.
Well, Minnesota got the last free agent quarterback that's available. Good job. So that solidifies the spot in Johnny Reno, formerly of Fort Worth. They got so hopefully soon to be Hall of Famer in Colin Hart, top 10 in rushing, great signings, and then you just mentioned the defense. Minnesota's looking pretty good right now. I'm liking the picks. Buchanan Simons, Colin Hart, and Johnny Reno tops that list for me because I'm offensive minded, so I like that. I like those picks.
This is an interest. I mean, they may just be the most. No offense to anybody else, but this team is fascinating. T. Roy. I mean, Reno's from Fort Worth, Colin Hart's from Louisiana, Buchanan Simons and Jay Taylor are from Charleston, Jason Francis from Tulsa, Mark Mello's from Arizona, and the Meerkats are from Mexico City. Axel's from San Diego, Mississippi's from Denver. I mean, they pulled almost like half the league's teams. They have pulled free agents from. This is really interesting.
A nice, solid foundation. That's what
Yes.
you need as a team that's an expansion team. A great, solid foundation. I don't think you can get any better than this right now.
No doubt about it. That is really great stuff out of Minnesota, and looking forward to seeing what else they might do today. Although, there's a lot of teams around the league that are saying, "Okay, I think you've done enough." And one of those teams perhaps could be Damon Simeon of the Houston Hyenas, who we're going to bring on next. Houston has had a busy offseason rebranding to the Headhunters. And getting some great players like G.P. Wells, Keenan Samuels, Butch Menor, Mike St. Green, Talon Steele, among others. But Damon, welcome to the program. Can you hear us?
Yes, sir. It's loud and clear.
All righty. Welcome to the show. The floor is yours. Let's talk about what Houston's done today.
Yeah, man. Pretty good day. Free agency, frenzy, should we say?
Yeah.
And everybody was. I heard T. were saying that did Brad leave Houston? Well, just to sum that story up, Brad didn't leave Houston. Houston released Brad. Nothing against Brad or Stoke, but Houston released GP Williams in the last year's draft. Sorry about that. My son.
Yeah, we are having a little trouble hearing you, but we're bearing with you.
Sorry about that. I was bearing with a 2-year-old swing. Like I said, man, we GP Wells wanted to come to Houston, and we wanted GP Wells last year in the draft, and unfortunately, that wasn't able to happen. And midway through the season, we just rekindled our relationship, and basically, man, we just kept in touch throughout the season, all off season or whatever, and got the job done for him to come on over to where he wanted to be.
Yeah, Wells was certainly a dynamic player, and I think it came as a surprise to some, given how Brad Jones played. But when you're locked in on a target, sometimes you got to take a risk to try and go get him again. That's what Houston did, and that's what Houston got. So G.P. Wells continues the running back legacy over there in Houston. How has the new era been of these headhunters as you guys get ready? I think you're up to 15 signings now. Still more work to be done, but I know it's been an adjustment, a new totally new front office coming in with you, and it's got to be exciting.
Yeah, I mean it's been really exciting, as I've stated on several shows that I've been on. Man, these guys that came in and they have hit the ground. I mean, before Corey even got into the front office he was like, man, I need some screenshots of players so I can start making graphics and stuff like that. Who are all the players that are resigning with us, and also, who are our potential targets for free agency. And man, like I say, he came in, man, and he's just done a great and productive job for us during this off season in reference to getting edits done and completed as we send things over to free agents and so. And they basically love the little things that we sent out to them. And Butch Minner, I gotta give kudos to Butch as well. This is his first stint as a full-time general manager. Butch came in and I'm sorry, I'm out of breath. I'm running behind this 2-year-old at this party, man.
The life of an SFL owner.
So Butch came in, man, and Butch really got hitting the road, man, pedaling hard, dude, and reaching out to free agents and certain guys that he knew he felt that would be a great fit for the team, not only just as a player, but as a person as well. That's what we look for in Houston. We care more about the person than the player. Yes, we want the player on the team, but we want to build a relationship with the individual. So that's basically was our target, and just revamping our locker room and rebuilding the culture. So we're basically going to make some noise here in the free agency. We have a few more signings to come through. I had a few that I was trying to work with, but it seemed like there's something. Yeah. Okay. Here. No.
Something you're on national TV, Damon. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Sorry. Were you trying to say that something might be wrong?
No, not at all. I just need to refresh on my end, so I haven't got a chance to do it yet.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, hey, you handle your business, and great job with the retooling of the franchise, and we'll talk to you later.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Wow. That was, when I hear calls like that, T. Roy, I think, I'm glad that's not my life. It sounds stressful.
Hey, DJ, which is Damon's sons, keeping him on his toes.
Yeah.
And if we talked about family players before, I think DJ is a non-contract backup running back for Houston, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, backing up GP, and these are some of the graphics Houston's been putting out. So the headhunters are all over it, building this new era, and it's going to be really, after what GP did in Sioux Falls, be really excited to see him in a headhunter's uniform. So good stuff there. All right, let's get to the rookie draft order. So we've got 4, 3, 2, 1 to decide. And T. Roy, the way we're going to do it is that when we put the logos back up on the screen, whoever's logo is showing at that time is going to be the number 4 overall pick, and we'll continue to count down to 1. We can't see anything. You can confirm as you're watching my screen that I cannot see where the logos are at this point in their shuffle session, right, T. Roy?
Yes. Yes, I can confirm.
We're just looking at a blank screen. So,
yes, you are.
Here we go. The 4th pick in the SFL Season 19 rookie draft will go to the Canton Classics. I couldn't tell who that other logo was that was just there, but Canton squeezes it out. So Canton is going to get the 4th pick in the draft. And now we await number 3. While we do that, Canton gets the 4th pick, T. Roy, and of course Portland number 5. We were talking about during a break how it was not the best season to have your worst season if you were the Portland Fleet, having to pick behind all of these other teams.
Yes, it wasn't. Unfortunately, they got the short end of the stick. If expansion didn't happen, they would have been a number 1 pick, but not this season.
Yep. So that's going to be Canton number 4, Portland number 5. Number 3 is going to go to the Seattle Nemesis. Seattle is number 3. So the Seattle Nemesis is number 3. Minnesota or Indy going to be the number 1 pick in the draft. So Canton 4, Seattle 3. This next pick will be the number 1 pick. The logo that does not show will be the de facto number 2. So you ready, T-Roy? The number 1 pick in the rookie draft?
Ready.
For this year? All right, the number 1 pick in the season 19 rookie draft is going to go to the Indianapolis Ramblers. Indy, the first logo up. Minnesota will get the second pick. So Indy 1, Minnesota 2, Seattle 3, and Canton 4 is your draft order. So that's fun. That's a lot of fun. And we'll see what the Indianapolis Ramblers do with that number 1 pick. 2 Central Division rivals, too, Indy and Minnesota, coming up. So that's going to be interesting. We're going to take a break. Ross Napoli, Dion Hawkins close the show out. Sean Allen, heyo, has signed with the Las Vegas Fury. That is a big signing. Hubba Kimbrell also came across the wire earlier. These are some splashy signings for Vegas. Vegas has been a little quiet today, but they're pulling some punches late in free agency, and T-Roy and I will break that down and more when we return. This is the SFL Free Agency Frenzy on ESTV. All right, we're back here on Free Agency Frenzy here on ESTV, and Sean Allen in commercial break signed with the Las Vegas Fury. That's a big pickup for Vegas. We're going to break down all of the biggest signings of the day coming up a little bit later as we wind down on the show. But right now, we've got Ross Napoli, who is big time over there in Louisiana, co-owner over with the Revolution. How you doing, Ross?
I'm doing well, guys. Thanks for having me.
We are missing Swamp Talk dearly this off season, so hopefully you're getting a nice break. Oh, everybody needs a break.
Yeah. Yes, it's good, and especially with all the stuff that's going on this off season with everybody, I think it's going to give us some pretty good content to start off the next season with. So.
Big changes to your offense this free agency period. Lyric Da Vinci from Charleston and John Michael Sudduth from Baltimore come over. Floor is yours, Ross, to chat about your newest players.
Yeah, we were really excited about adding these two guys. You know, we were in talks with a lot of people. A lot of free agents were interested in coming to Louisiana when they knew that we had the openings. But, I had a lot of contact with Lyric Da Vinci. He's a great individual. We're really excited. He was excited to make the transition over to wide receiver. You know, it was a position he said that he always wanted to play, but, didn't have the opportunity when he first came to the league, so he became a tight end. And obviously, Ethan's player, John Michael Sudduth, as I'm sure, T-Roy knows, he's a great guy.
Yes, he is.
Him and I, yeah, him and I had some, nice contact through his expansion bid process. We had a little contact through crunch time. So when him and I started talking and the number one tight end opportunity opened up here in Louisiana, he gave it some real serious thought. We had a lot of conversations. As he said in general chat, I either sold him on winning another ring or I forget how he said it, some used Chevy or something like that. However he said it in there. So we're gonna see which one I sold him on, But we're real happy with adding those two guys, and we've had some really good contact with some minor league prospects, and we're looking forward to the draft. And we feel like we've retooled really well here this offseason.
Well, T-Roy, go ahead and I mean, he stole your player from you, so this is your opportunity.
Yeah, how dare you? No, I'm just kidding. But let's go ahead, Ross, and talk about. I think you guys got a great player in the locker room, John Michael Sub. I can definitely attest to that. On one of my bigger questions is now Colin Hart. He's with Minnesota. Does that mean Randy Squarebush is going to be the main bell cow, or were you guys planning on duplicating what you guys did last season and maybe get another second running back to help off the offense?
Well, that's a great question because it was the plan coming in this year. And us, like many teams, had to kind of retool the plan when the salary cap came in at what it was last season. So realizing that we were going to have some maneuvering that we were going to have to do in the offseason, we kind of felt that it was time to go back to the standard one-back system. And Randy Squarebush was drafted last year with the promise by this organization that his day would come to lead this backfield one day, to be the lead back, whether it was by himself or in the dual system. We were hoping to bring it back. Colin and I had a conversation. He was willing to come back. Randy Squarebush was willing to return to play behind Colin again. But when the salary cap was what it was and we had to make some maneuvering, I wish Colin well. We thanked him for his time here. And, we knew he was going to get an opportunity someplace else. So we're really excited. And prior to today, when we re-signed Randy Squarebush, he was the highest paid running back in the league, but that was pretty short. After Brad Jones and then GP Wells today getting their contracts, we kind of feel like we got a deal on the deal we gave Randy Squarebush. So,
Yeah. Well, looking at the contracts, GP and then Brad and then Logan, and Robert Johnson was a 109, Hart a 107, and Squarebush tapped in at as a re-signing as a 112. So yeah, he's up there, but I can understand why you might feel that way, Ross. That's pretty good.
It was, and I just want to take a chance because I'm glad you guys had me on, because just wanted to wish all of our parting players the best of luck. Not everybody gets to retain their entire team every season, and we knew about quite a few of these for a while now. We wish Luther Gahn the best. Luther's been here since my rookie season. We both came into season 15. He set franchise records, and we just couldn't accommodate what he wanted, which was to play on the same team as his dad. And, we value the player's experience, more than anything else. And so Luther and I had a conversation, and when we knew that's what his plan was, I wished him all the best. And we knew that that's what was going to happen. We feel we had a really good hand in building the players that Frank and Robo have become. Two players that, again, we wish the best. Some of these signings, not as much of a surprise to us as some other people. We kind of felt that we knew where some guys were going to land with Luther, with his dad, and some of these other guys. But, we wish all of these guys the best, and no one left here, let's say, unceremoniously. I think, there's a story behind everything, and we really wish all these guys the best, and we are real happy with the additions who have come here. We feel that as a unit, we're going to be better this year, and we need to compete with T-Roy and those Vultures who stopped us a game short of the championship this year.
Last question for you, Ross. The signings today, since you always have your ear to the ground in the SFL, the one signing that took you by surprise. I know that's hard to do because you know a lot of things, but the one signing where you were like, whoa, that's pretty big.
I actually think there was quite a few contract signings today that I think were a shock to some people. But I've got to say the one that took everybody by surprise from anybody that I spoke to so far is Christian Brown going to Vancouver. I mean, I don't think anybody saw that one coming. So that one definitely was a shock, especially knowing that Tom Pepper had talked a little bit about going for an expansion bid, and then we didn't see it go in. I thought for sure that meant a return to Vancouver. So it was nice to hear Andy say that Tom doesn't sound like he's going anywhere. He's not going to leave the league. He's going to be around. Maybe just wants to, do what a couple of people have done and start over again. And there's a lot of guys that were here even prior to when I got here that never got to experience the minors. And since it's become such a popular thing, I think maybe there's a lot of teams that, these guys are going to be getting to the end of their careers and think, I still want to be in the league, but it's time to start over. And so, hopefully that's what Tom Pepper's doing. And that's definitely the biggest shock for me today, bar none.
There's still some quarterback spots open, so I'll never rule anything out. He could go somewhere else. No, that's all very interesting. Thank you, Ross, for joining with us. Good luck on your upcoming season in Louisiana, and congrats on the new signings.
Thank you for having me on, guys.
All right, we've got 10 minutes. We've got to squeeze in some final thoughts, and we got to pull Dion Hawkins up in here, the owner of the Tulsa Desperados, to talk about Tulsa. Dion, you with us?
Yes, I am.
All right, Dion, welcome to the program. Let's get to Tulsa. 3 signings that came through: Justin Williams, Marco Swift, David Ware. Marco Swift, we knew about a little bit because he was going to join the staff. David Ware, that's a pretty big one. You get your new director of communications.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely happy to have all 3 of these guys. A lot of people didn't know what we were going to do with Marco since he was a cornerback and we already had corners. So we actually moved him to strong safety to fill that spot. Him being a shorter corner by SFL standards. And with his build and what he's good at, we feel that that'll be a perfect position for him. Since we lost Charles Ball, I've been looking for that same type of safety to fill that role. So that's one thing that if people who hadn't been around for a while, it's going to be the exact same build as him and that playmaker. So we're ecstatic to have him move to that position and cover that for us.
If you don't know who Charles Ball is, you're not doing the SFL right. You got to go back. You got to go back and watch some Charles Ball footage. Justin Williams is big too. That's brother of Jason Williams. And I know that Jason was very close to getting his own team. It didn't happen for the Great Lakes bid, and I'm sure they will be back. But Justin had a pretty amazing debut in Houston. I think he scored 3 touchdowns his first game ever, and he really just kind of broke out of the gates. Now he's your fullback, helping to block for Douglas. I don't see Douglas. Do you have a comment on Douglas Brown? Not signing yet? Oh, no, there he is. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's here.
Everything is blurring together at this point in the show. He'll be blocking for Douglas Brown, so what do you think of that pickup?
It's kind of hard to keep track. We got so many. Last few years, we're going to have to fill a lot of spots, but we rolling. It's actually the first year that, in a while, that we literally had to turn people away. We couldn't fill them all. Like, we had people trying to get spots, and we simply didn't have room for them. So that's always a good problem to have. But, yeah, Justin, I didn't actually think that. And all these guys signing, kudos to Marco, because he came in going back and forth with it. He came in and he hit the ground running. I mean, he's connected to so many people, being in the minor leagues. And it's always kind of funny to see when you're switching between organizations how one is ran compared to another, because a lot of times some of these guys eye open to what all their things that they missed, or how one organization does something completely different than their last organization. And they're like, oh, wow, I didn't even know that was a thing. So, but Marco's been awesome. He is signed Justin, David. He's been the head and going after and getting those guys to sign. But yeah, I didn't think Justin would actually happen when Stephen McMichaels decided to leave. We kind of have that option. I was like, hey, go get him. 2 days later, he went and got him. And I was like, bet. And obviously David, That's our big signing because what he does as far as off the field, he's going to be a great player on the field. And we were going hard after him season 17. I was trying to move up to get him in season 17, and Carolina took him first. So I'm glad that a couple of seasons later, we can actually get him. He's going to be huge as far as playing on the field and obviously being our director of communications. And he's already been getting to work, so I'm ecstatic about all three of these guys we brought in.
Dion, best of luck to you in your season. Thanks for starting our show and finishing our show for us here with David Ware and the rest of the Tulsa signings. We appreciate you.
No problem.
All right, T-Roy, how about we say we take one more break, and then we'll come back and put a bow on this thing, huh?
Sounds good.
Free Agency Frenzy here on ESTV. We'll be right back. Joshua Williams almost also got a team. There's a lot of Williams brothers, and don't want to leave anybody out. So, Josh, we love you. And sorry. T-Roy, free agency madness, frenzy, live, however you want to call it. It's been an incredible day. We've had so many signings. Look at all these signings. And Marco Swift, which came in at about 3 hours ago, they're off the page, man. They're gone. They're off the page. They're off the transactions page. It was a crazy day. We've got 3 minutes left. T-Roy, your takeaways from today's free agency frenzy.
A lot of surprises. I remember DeMond won GP Wells a couple of seasons ago. So I remember that story now. So, but it's still a surprise after, how well the season Brad Jones had. But Indy did well. Canton did well. Minnesota did exceptionally well. I think out of the free agency from the expansion teams, Minnesota's probably the team that's on top right now. And imagine if they would have gotten the number 1 pick, Cam. Imagine that. Oh, I think the expansion teams would have been a little bit hating on Minnesota right now. Minnesota got a great foundation like we talked about earlier. And seeing these players on new teams is going to be a little bit hard to get used to, especially not seeing Tom Pepper, like Ross Napoli said.
Yeah.
That's going to be different seeing a new quarterback running the blue and gold up north.
But if you're Christian Brown, talk about an upgrade. No offense to St. Louis, but you're obviously going to the team that had the best record last year. You're going to a team that built Tom Pepper into an MVP candidate, not just once, but over multiple seasons. And this is, if you're talking about winners and losers of free agency so far, I think Christian Brown may be your biggest winner. just because of the situation that he's going to. Boy, it's going to be fascinating. I can't wait for the content creators this week, right, T-Roy? They got all they can talk about and more coming up. So if you are a big fan of the SFL or interested in the Simulation Football League, visit simulationfl.net. Join our Discord channel. Check out all the content creators and content creations throughout the week. And we love being here on the broadcast with you guys. Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern is our schedule release show. Mike St. Green is here with all of us to break down the schedule release of all 28 SFL teams. And then, obviously, the rookie draft is just a few weeks away as well. From all of us at the Simulation Football League, T-Roy, thanks for being with me. I'm Cameron Irvine. Have a great afternoon, everyone. And thanks for joining us on Free Agency Frenzy. Good night, everybody.